You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I think we beat the young guys up over the week to understand what type of level of play we need from them and the expectation playing playoff football in Arrowhead, Giha, wherever stadium. Oh, it's not Giha? Oh, excuse me. My apologies. That's okay. Giha.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We will certainly talk a lot of NFL football. Kansas City Chiefs heading down on Sunday to New Orleans. They will arrive second and finish first. We'll be heading down there on Sunday as well, bringing you all the sights and sounds of Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans. Opening night on Monday night. Chiefs press conferences availabilities on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And whoever else will stop by the table that we'll be talking to about this game coming up a week from Sunday. And the Chiefs going for 3 in a row. The three-peat, the Chiefs-peat. Pete and repeat, not sure.
Three chief.
Yeah, sorry. We'll figure out one of them, you know.
Jim Nance wanted to bury that as fast as possible. Tony brought it back up, but Jim was,
Tony!
I can't remember what that first one was, Tony.
What should we call this, Tony? I don't know, Jim. But here we go.
I like Chiefs.
Tony.
I like Chiefs Pete. I like Chiefs Pete. That's my
bat out from.
That's probably my number one.
Sorry, there was a bat between my legs.
Yeah,
there,
that bat just rotates spots in here. There's a plastic
nothing
baseball
new to
bat
me.
that just.
Nothing new to me.
Okay,
All
Pat
right,
Burrell.
so we'll talk with Matt Derrick coming up at 11 o'clock. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Kendall Gammon will join us at noon. Mick Schaefer at about noon 30. Sad Fans Bills edition coming up about 12:45, 12:50 or so. The cuts before the show is over. No predictions really to give for today, for this weekend. Oh, should we pick the Pro Bowl games? Who's winning tug of war? AFC versus NFC? I don't know. I don't know, Jim.
That could be kind of fun. That could be kind of fun.
I'm good with not.
And when I say kinda, I'm being
you
very
mean not.
generous. Yeah.
It could be kind of fun, and by kind of, I mean not at all. Yes, we will talk some NFL football today. 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. So I wanted to, before we head down to the Super Bowl, and we're, a week away from really getting into the breakdown, less than a week away to getting into the breakdown. I think on Monday, we'll get more into the, let's, go to some of these matchups as we will talk about them throughout the week with different guests. But looking at some of the early matchups for this game, I think it is telling in that the Chiefs went back and forth with the Bills. They had opportunities, certainly, to win that game by a larger margin than 3. They had opportunities to take complete control of that game if it weren't for, a couple of mistakes, some self-inflicted wounds that they had. And so they come out and it's a 1.5-point favorite for the Chiefs. While the Eagles won by 30 points. The Eagles take care of their NFC Championship game by 30. Incredibly dominant in the second half as it got away. The score was that. And the Chiefs squeaked by, right? And yet the opening line is 1.5. It has not moved since the opening line. The total has gone down and up and down again. So like 49.5 to 48.5 to 49.5. It's now back down to 48.5. So it's just teetered back and forth on that particular one, but it hasn't moved with 1.5, which, says a couple of things. One, there's probably not a lot of money coming in on the Super Bowl right now. Heavy hitters will come in next week as it gets closer and closer to the game, and the line might be manipulated one way or another. There'll be this man just placed a $2 million bet on insert team here.
Mattress Mackle.
He'll bet on
Punxsutawney
something.
Phil. He's coming out of the cave.
That's right. He'll bet on something.
71% on the Eagles, by the way.
71% of the tickets or the money?
Looks like percentage of the bets per action.com.
Okay. Does it say how much money? What? Because that's what made me feel good about the Bills last week, Bills and Chiefs, is that all of the money was coming in on the Bills, and Vegas was like, yeah, we ain't changing the line. Keep betting on the Bills.
Yeah.
Keep putting money on the Bills. No, that's good. Keep putting money on the Bills. Keep doing it. It's all good here.
76% of the money is on Eagles. So 71% of the bet, 76% of the money. On
Okay.
the Philadelphia
And the
Eagles.
line is
and
still
the line has not moved.
Nope.
So
Well,
the 76% of the money so far.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Whereas,
what,
like,
to
again,
your point,
a week
next
from
week,
now,
yeah.
if it's still 76% of the money, I
Then,
can't imagine the Chiefs would be 1.5 point. Or Vegas is just like, man, still keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep putting
Which would be
money.
good for us.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Eagles are home underdogs in the Super Bowl. That's big. Can they switch jerseys this year?
I wonder how
Can they do that? Can they switch jerseys this year? Because we already had the dark green versus the white jerseys 2 years ago in
who's
Arizona.
closer to New Orleans?
Chiefs.
You think so? It's a 13-hour drive.
Yeah, well, I mean, just as the crow flies, I don't think you need to, it doesn't necessarily mean to be a drive. I mean, just what's the mild difference between Kansas City and New Orleans?
I'm looking at it now. I'm going to...
My quick picturing in my mind, map geography would tell me the Chiefs are closer.
I thought so, too, but I want to
Okay.
let me look at miles.
It's not the NCAA tournament where you go, well, if they're within a certain amount of miles, they have to take a bus.
Okay.
They cannot fly.
Looks like, just rough estimation here, 1,223 miles for Philly to New Orleans. Okay?
Nolans. New Orleans. We'll be in New Orleans.
Wow. Yeah. KC by about 400 miles.
Yeah, so 800 miles or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should be the home team.
850.
Yeah, that's a great point. They should be the home team.
They should be the home team.
How many times have they been the closest in when they played the Eagles, they were in Arizona, so they were certainly the closest there. Last year, San Francisco was closer to Vegas than the Chiefs were. Tampa Bay was closer to Tampa Bay than the Chiefs were. In that one.
Shocking.
Miami and San Francisco Chiefs were closer than San Francisco to Miami. So I don't know, it's kind of split.
Well, when you're the heart of America.
That's a good. Yeah, right. If it's on one of the coasts, if that team isn't on that coast, then it's they're kind of SOL at that point. So Tex says Threed Pete, Andy Reid, Threed.
Huh, I like that. That's good.
Interesting.
Threed Pete.
I think we can call it for Andy Reid. Like, Andy Reid, you just completed your threed.
Yeah,
Pete.
he would hate that.
He'd be like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
It is a good one, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Better than Three Chief. That was...
Chief
That
Pete?
was, no, that's what Jim Nance said first.
Oh.
And then he goes, oh, it's
Three
Chief
Chiefs?
Pete. Yeah, it was,
Chiefs Pete's way better than the Three Chief. Or whatever. What'd you say? You said Three Chief?
Yeah, that's what Jim
brutal.
Nance... Yeah.
I don't know, Jim.
I like the Threed Pete for Andy. I like that. That's a good call.
Pretty good. So we're sort of looking at the matchup and what takes place, a week from Sunday. And again, talking about the line, it was a dominant game. It looks like on paper, dominant game for the Eagles and Chiefs back and forth. And the discourse about blaming the refs, and the only reason that the Chiefs ended up winning that game is because the refs were clearly on the Chiefs' side, according to people without eyes or brains or ability to think logically, or just simply watching it.
You know what you
as the
say,
game
Jason?
happened. What's that?
Bless their heart.
Oh, bless your heart.
Bless
Yeah.
their heart.
That's-
You
bless
think?
your-
You think?
we'll be down in New
oh,
Orleans. so
Bless
bless
your
their
heart.
We'll be down in New Orleans. Bless your heart. Little southern, huh? A little southern activity. Bless your heart, okay? Or probably in New Orleans. Oh, let me tell you about bless your heart. Oh, I'll pat you on the head.
Dog, I went fishing
right on by that head.
in
I'm gonna
Louisiana.
blame the refs. I'm gonna blame it on your stupid ass face.
That is what he sounded like. I went fishing in Louisiana. We went red fishing down there.
Yeah, Coach O, baby.
In the most southern part of Louisiana.
I want to talk to Coach O.
That
down
is
in
what
New
they
Orleans.
sound like.
I hope Coach O is down there. I want to interview Coach O as Coach O. Oh, let me tell you something with Coach O right here.
I was fishing, and this dude just
answer the damn question. I'm gonna kick your ass right on out of him.
he just kept telling me anytime I'd throw the reel out. That's more better now, boy. That's more better now. And I'm like, all right, thank you. I think it's a compliment. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was more better.
That's more better now, boy.
Yes.
That's more better now.
Double comparative
That's what I was
all you
telling him.
want.
I was like, you know what? Appreciate it. Thank you. I like the confidence.
I was looking back at the game, mainly the Eagles-Commanders game. I've watched Chiefs-Bills a couple times, and Eagles-Commanders just watched on the quick version of NFL app, the condensed game, which is about 35, 40 minutes or so. Very, much easier to watch the game. And so looking at that one, at the end of the first half, like, I don't know what the game would have been. There are a couple of plays throughout a game that you look at and you go, man, if this would have been different, if that would have been different. It's a little hard in a 30-point game, right? It's much easier with the Chiefs and Bills to go back and forth. Hell, people were even going back and forth with Chiefs and Texans in an 11-point game before the Chiefs took the safety to make it 9. So in a 30-point game, it's tough to go, well, if this was different and that was different. Okay, yeah, you mean if 30 things were different? But the way that game flow goes and game scripts and things like that go, at the end of the first half was just monumentally tough for the Commanders to overcome.
Yeah.
When they were already the lesser of the talented teams. We know that. The Commanders were the upstart, were making the Cinderella run. They had kind of a Bengals-Burrow feel with a better quarterback in Jaden Daniels. With a quarterback that was making more of an impact on the game. With a quarterback that was actually one of the big reasons why they were winning those games.
Well, everyone knows Jaden has, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to throw
You mean the
to.
best quarterback in LSU history? Jaden Daniels.
I mean, it's got
Is
no
that what
ring.
you-
It's got no ring.
Wow.
It's got no ring. Where's that ring, though?
Hey,
You're right.
Where'd that ring go?
Which one beat Mizzou?
Where the boy at?
Probably both.
Huh?
Probably both, but I know which one beat
Where the
Mizzou
ring
when I
at?
was there.
Hey, String, where the ring at? Where the boy at? Where the ring at, String? But the end of the first half, it's 14-12. I wasn't a fan of Dan Quinn going for the 2-point conversion to tie it up in the second quarter, whatever, even if it's 14-13. It was also sort of curious the first drive from Dan Quinn that they went for it on 4th and 5 and 4th and 6 and 4th and 5, and then 4th and 3 they kick a field goal.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, what are we doing here?
He's like, we can get 3. We're not getting 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you were aggressive in saying we've got to get down the field. We cannot punt, but we can kick a field goal here. And then the first play, Saquon Barkley takes it 60 yards after you settle for a field goal on 4th and 3 when you had already converted a number of 4th downs before that. But anyway, you get to the 14-12, and you get to a 4th and 5 around midfield for the Eagles with like 2.5, 3 minutes to play in the half. And it's a dime from Jalen Hurts. I mean, A.J. Brown beats Marshawn Lattimore down the sideline. This ain't a lucky play. It's not a ref thing. The BS commentary. It was mano-a-mano.
Yeah.
Lattimore, your best Commanders, against A.J. Brown, your best Eagles, and a quarterback in the pocket that threw as pretty of a deep ball. It was Russell Wilson-esque. I mean, there's one thing about Russell Wilson that's pretty legit. His ability to throw into the bucket on some of those deep balls. Just a pretty deep ball that Russell, with great touch. And Jalen Hurts laid it right in there. And A.J. Brown played it perfectly. It was one of those to where he's running, Marshawn Lattimore's running next to him, and he's running, and all of a sudden, the last minute, he sticks his hands out and catches it. It was just like, there was no way for Lattimore to even know the ball was coming. Like, he couldn't time up the ball with the arms because A.J. Brown was just waiting, and then boom, last second puts his hands up. It was just a beautiful play. They won on that rep. It was 4th and 5. You credit the Eagles for one, Sirianni saying, let's go for it. So that counts. And then also Jalen Hurts dropping it in the bucket and A.J. Brown winning and catching the ball, beating Marshawn Lattimore. But that was 4th and 5. It's a big swing of momentum in the game because the Commanders had just scored a touchdown. They would be getting the ball back around midfield with about 3 minutes to go in the half, down 2 against the Eagles. Instead, they convert. They go down the field. They're about the 20-yard line. They're facing 3rd and 13. They throw the ball into the end zone to Devontae Smith. He drops it, but there's a flag. It's pass interference. It was.
Yeah.
But it's pass interference in the end zone. Devontae Smith won the rep, and he got rewarded for winning the rep because the opposition had to commit a foul to put themselves back in position to make a play. Okay, that's how it works. James Bradbury, Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashee Rice, rookie, who I don't know his name for the Bengals. That's how it works. When you win the rep and you're in position to make a play and the other team has to pull, hold, grab to get back in position to make a play, that is a foul that should be called. And it was. 3rd and 13, they would have settled for a field goal there. Instead, they get the touchdown. They get the tush push after that. 1st and goal at the 1. They kick off. McNichols fumbles.
Yeah.
Eagles get it back and score a touchdown. Now, the Commanders go down and kick a field goal, and they end up being down by, 12?
That was a big field goal
halftime.
at the time until
because they were down by 2 on that 4th and 5. Think about how different those 3 minutes were. They were down 2 with 4th and 5 and the ball in the air.
Yeah.
And they go into halftime salvaging a field goal to keep them within 12.
Yeah.
At that point. I mean, that's backbreaking, ultimately. For a team that's already fighting an uphill battle
I felt
against
for Jaden Daniels. Man.
against a more talented team, right? Against a more talented team, because you also had De'Ami Brown fumbling.
Yes. Eckler fumbled.
In the second half. But that first half, the
first touch for the Eagles offense was a 60-yard touchdown for Saquon.
And then De'Ami Brown fumble, and then another touchdown for the Eagles. Saquon's first 2 touches were touchdowns, right? Because he didn't get the ball until they got down to the 3-yard line. Then they handed it off to Saquon again, and he scored a touchdown. I think he was 2 carries, 2 touchdowns, like 63 yards rushing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It was pretty legit. But again, Commanders kick a field goal. Eagles score a touchdown. Commanders fumble. De'Ami Brown fumbles. Would have set up like a 2nd and 3. And good on Zach Bond and Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean and Zach Bond. You get the point. They combined to force the fumble. It was credited to Bond, but it was actually Cooper DeJean that's hand went over and pulled the football out.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool, though, when you watch the combination, because I think it should have been, I don't think you can give it a half-force fumble, but if you watch it again slow-mo, Zach Bond punches, and he punches Cooper DeJean's arm, which then his arm moves down on the ball, and it pops the ball out.
Teamwork.
Yeah, so Cooper DeJean doesn't cause the fumble without Zach Bond punching, and Zach Bond punching doesn't cause the fumble without Cooper DeJean's hand there that he hits because he wasn't going to hit the ball.
Man,
he hits his arm.
Cooper's wrist/forearm has to hurt. That could not feel good.
That's Zach running full speed and punching at the same time, man. That's
Falcon
one of those,
punch.
It's one of those Mortal Kombats, running, jumping in the air, and then punching down.
Yeah.
He did that on the end. De'Ami Brown fumbles, and they go score a touchdown. It's 14-3.
Yeah.
Just like that. They battle back to 14-12. They got a chance to get the ball back, right? So they were there back and forth. The final score is not indicative of how that game went. And I think you can make a real case that the final score for the Chiefs was not indicative of how that game went. Because there are certain plays along the way that have win probability percentages adding or taking away from a certain team depending on the result of that play. There's expected points added per play. There are massive plays in a game that add or take points away for that particular team. And when you look at what that Chiefs-Bills game was, of the top 10 plays, I don't know if you saw this tweet from me or not, Sterling. Of the top 10 plays, you saw this one?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Dylan, you probably saw the tweet too, since you've got notifications turned on for my Twitter.
I think I have you muted, actually. So
I have him blocked. But you know what it
No, I
says?
did.
Like, this
I did
is
see
from
that.
an account
Yes.
that you have
I'm
blocked.
glad you found it, too.
Yeah, it's so funny because these are the things that I want. Sorry to cut you off. No, you're good.
These are things I want to find and put and post on these people's tweets,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you, like Curtis, like people like find these things because, yes, like saying dumb things like Jason McIntyre's saying is
This is a and
malpractice.
We'll go to break and we'll play that clip. But just as this is from, it's a great Substack follow. It's Unexpected Points, and they do all of the advanced analytical breakdowns of every single game. So it has this. It has the quarterback play. So sometimes when you see the quarterback comparison, it's like that different categories along the way: EPA, yards, all of that stuff, EPA per attempt, and win, all of that. That's right there on the Unexpected Points Substack. It's got all of that for each individual game, and he sort of writes a paragraph about what he sees from the numbers. So it's pretty cool. And so if you look at that game in the Chiefs-Bills, 7 of the top 10 most impactful plays went the Bills' way, and the Chiefs still won the game. We talked last year during the regular season. And we were looking at it week by week because the Chiefs were losing some of those close games, right? Turns out they weren't having a good year last year in the regular season, even though, what was their record?
11.
Were they 9-5 after the Raiders game? Because they ended up going, well, no, that would have been their 6th loss. So 9-6, because they had 2 games left after the Raiders, right? So they were 9-6, and then ended up going 11-6. So they were 9-6 last year, 9-5 going into that Raiders game. And so those 5 losses, as we were looking through, and I was keeping track of the top 5 impactful plays in each game, and the amount of games last year that at least 4 of the top 5 were the opposing team that had the most impactful plays. And the Chiefs weren't able to overcome that last year during the regular season in some of those games. The Chiefs were able to overcome 7 of the top 10 plays being the Bills' favor and 1 through 5. I would love to go back and look at every single conference championship game to see how many teams have 1 through 5 of the most impactful of win probability and expected points added. 1 through 5 goes to one team, and if that team won or not. Because I would have to imagine that would be the winning team 90-95% of the time, and what the final score would be. Not just losing, but what the final... The Chiefs win by 3. Imagine if the top 5 most impactful plays were in the Chiefs' favor. There. I mean, like the most impactful play of expected points added was almost a touchdown. Mahomes' Pacheco fumble. That dropped the Chiefs 5.7 expected points added. That one play right there dropped them almost a touchdown. It was -5. Curtis Samuel's TD gave the Bills an expected points added of 4.1. Now, I know you would say, well, hold on, that's a 7-point play or 6-point play.
Well,
but you're looking at
they could have kicked a field goal in that situation.
Right,
which
so
would
it
have been,
added 4 points.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, because they could have kicked a field goal, but that play added 4 points. That's 10 points right there on those 2 plays. Josh Allen to Mac Hollins added 5 points. That's 15 points on the top 3 plays in the game of the most impactful plays, expected points added. 15 points added to the Bills on 3 plays alone. Mahomes fumble, Hollins TD, and Curtis Samuel's TD. How many teams survive that and win?
Where's the most important play in NFL history according to my timeline on Monday morning and Sunday night?
Oh, the Josh Allen quarterback sneak?
Because I thought that looked like it was really far down there when I saw it last night.
It comes in as the 6th most impactful play of expected points added.
So
6th.
Okay. Gotcha.
6th. So after 1 through 5 all go the Bills' favor. Number 6 goes the Chiefs' favor.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking through like all of these different ref-induced plays. Let's see, Patrick Mahomes fumble, no refs. Josh Allen to Mac Hollins touchdown. That was the refs because they didn't call the false start. Josh Allen to Curtis Samuel, no refs. Josh Allen to Mac Hollins, 32-yard catch when it was 3rd and 8. And then Josh Allen to Khalil Shakir on 3rd and 13 for the 24-yard catch. Those are the top 5. Only one of those has a ref-impacted play, and that happened to be the Mac Hollins touchdown that wasn't called for the false start. By the way, shout out to NFL and putting out the mic'd up. It's about 30 minutes, right? It's both conference championships mic'd up. They have a great view. They have a great view of the false start of Deion Dawkins and Mac Hollins, because that view actually shows Deion Dawkins flinching before he has the kick step. So not only did he kick step early, but he also flinched on accident and then kick stepped. So anybody was like, the timing was perfect. Oh, thank you, mic'd up, for giving us that. That's great.
I just don't care because where are the Bills?
I know. But,
home.
But here's
where are the Chiefs?
They're home right now.
Home right now, but about to be in New Orleans.
Where will they be on Sunday? It's a great question. Where are they sleeping? Who's sleeping in their own beds? Who's sleeping in a hotel room bed on Sunday night? Well, I don't know how many Bills are in Cancun already, so I can't even answer that as well. But it's sort of like, can you imagine if the roles were flipped? If the Chiefs scored a touchdown before half and Jawan Taylor did what Deion Dawkins did, they wouldn't care about the 4th and 1. That would be the only thing talked about. It's like they just don't call this. Look, he flinches but it doesn't matter, right? Those things doesn't matter. So I want to take a timeout. We'll come back, and I want to put a bow on sort of this part of it, and thank God the advanced analytics and the NFL discourse, and we'll look at a couple of the other early matchups in this game. James Cook, shout out, respect. We'll play that clip for you. And looking back at the different conference quarterbacks and how stark it is between the AFC and the NFC in domination of a few. We'll get into that as well. Hard work of so many, sacrificed by the disrespect of a few. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. Tex says, who's the Pete guy you keep talking about? I need to meet him. Hey, well, Pete will be present next Sunday.
Pete's his last name.
You know, Pete and Repeat are in a boat.
Chiefs is actually his first name. It's a Chiefs Pete.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Pete's his last name.
Well, Sterling, Pete and Repeat are in a boat. Pete fell out. Who's left?
I do not want to hear the question again.
That's only a question. You don't. Why would you have to hear it again? I just asked a simple question. Pete and Repeat are in a boat.
Nice.
Pete falls out. Who's left?
Shit is my riddles, and we'll never get off of sports or leisure.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. It's just a simple question. I'm not sure why you can't answer it. They're in a boat. Who falls out? Who's left?
I'm just gonna blink at you until you.
Dylan, do you know the answer? Pete and Repeat in a boat. Pete falls out. Who's left?
Dylan, don't answer the question because he's gonna keep.
It's a simple question, guys.
It's
Pete and Repeat are in a boat. If Pete falls out, who's left?
Dylan, do you actually not know this? Are you just being obtuse right now?
No, he's being cute. He's being cute.
Don't answer the question. I saw him like doing math in his head. He's like doing the question in his dome right there.
Simple. Oh, the texter knows the answer.
Don't.
The text already knows the answer. Pete and Repeat are in a boat. Pete falls out. Who's left? Text says Repeat. Okay, Pete and Repeat. All right, 913. It's stupid, I know. My dad used to tell that joke all the time. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Text says, stop with the refs, please.
Yes, thank you, texter.
I agree.
Thank you, texter.
I agree. Text says, I hope you get to interview Solomon Wilcox at Radio Row. Ask him what you think about the last few years. Yeah, we'll do that. Text says, Bronze Pete. It's Bronze Mahomes. So
yeah.
It's,
yeah, this is the Chiefs, Pete. Sorry, Repeat was my father.
Okay, that was good. But anyway, Pete and Repeat are in a boat, Sterling. If Pete falls out,
Stop.
who's left? So here's the point. This isn't really about the refs talk. I promise you that. I promise you it's not. This to me is about being thankful that we have advanced analytics because it's just information. You can decide what to do with it. So I agree with some of the frustration when we're watching a game and people go, well, analytics says do this. Well, the analytics say, well, do the analytics actually say that? Because I don't know that I've ever heard analytics speak before. Well, AI, maybe they do speak. I think you should kick the field goal. I don't know if that's what they sound like. I'm not sure. But I loved Cynthia Freeland's way of describing numbers and advanced analytics and having the information. And I've used this for the last 2 years since she brought this up, a couple of years ago. She said, when you pull up your map on your phone and you have a destination and you click the route and it gives you 4 or 5 different options, one of them might be the quickest. Well, one of them is the quickest. But you may look at it and go, actually, this one is a straighter shot for me. There's going to be less stoplights. This one says it's going to be 3 minutes quicker. I'm just going to jump on the highway this way, and it may be 3 minutes longer, but I don't have to worry about the right and the left and the stops and the stop sign and roundabouts and all that stuff. I'm going to go this way. You had the information. You just chose something that you felt was better in the moment.
Chose your gut.
Right. But in a TV broadcast, it would say, analytics are saying they're going the wrong way. Analytics say this is 3 minutes faster. Yes, over the course of you driving that route 5,000 times, that route has been played 5,000 times in this game. Over the course of that, it is more efficient to go that way. But in this particular instance, where I am, whatever's going on with my day, whatever's happening in the game, right, these two different things, I'm choosing to go this route. So I love the way that she put that to describe. It's just more information, and then you make the decision based on what's going on in the game with the information that you have. So I understand people's annoyance at that. Okay. But I also appreciate some of the advanced analytics that we have now because we can combat a little bit easier some commentary that's out there that just can simply be made up, quite frankly. So I'm going to play this. And again, this is not about refs talk. This is about just making stuff up. So here is from The Herd, Jason McIntyre.
This dude's been brutal, by the way.
For how long?
Yeah.
So anyway, here's Jason McIntyre weighing in on how he breaks down this. I didn't see this yesterday or on Wednesday. I saw it yesterday, last night, on how he breaks down this Bills and Chiefs game as to why he feels like the Bills were actually the better team that should have won.
So many ways to look at this game. Essentially, the 3 highest leverage plays all went Kansas City's way. Yeah. That Worthy thing, which, by the way, both announcers and the CBS guy all thought the ball hit the ground, that should not have been a catch. Move it into the red zone, they get the touchdown, maybe they hold him to the field goal. So that's 1. 2 is the Kincaid drop. And boy, there are multiple angles floating around the internet. It wasn't as bad as Mark Andrews, but that's a brutal drop by Kincaid. And I know he was coming back to the ball, but that's 2. And then, of course, the 4th down run by Josh Allen. And I know you hated the tush push and the Chiefs were ready, but it should be noted, Colin, one referee on the sideline comes down the line essentially saying he got to the marker. He gets overruled by the other referee, and it's like, well, why did that happen? How did the guy on the bottom say, I've got a better angle than you? Each of those 3 plays. That's why I keep using the word luck, and I know you don't like it, and the Chiefs fans online cannot stand it, but things bounce their way.
Okay, so if we actually watched it, like things bounced their way.
5 times, 5 fumbles happened.
Right.
Things
yes.
clearly did not bounce their way.
One quick point on the spot and this common commentary that's been going on out there. Anybody else find it hilarious that they're complaining that the refs have 2 different spots, and yet the non-Chiefs fans are saying, well, the ref that gave him the first down is right? But isn't that great, though? They have 2 different spots. You're complaining that there are 2 different spots. But what you're complaining about is that 2 different spots, the ref that overruled the other was the one that had him short. The ref that got overruled was the one that had him getting the first down. By the time he walked in, it was barely to the 40. When he started running in, he was like a half yard past the 40. Even if you think he barely made the 40, he didn't get past the 40. So I can tell you the ref on the bottom was much more accurate than the one on the top. Anyway, that's besides the point. This is my point on the analytics. Is because if you hear somebody say that on a national show, you go, oh yeah, those were the 3 most impactful plays. Absolutely. Yeah. But we do have analytics to tell us that they weren't. The 4th and 1 sneak was the 6th most impactful play for EPA. Yeah. It was the 4th most impactful play for win probability. The Dalton Kincaid catch, no refs, that was the 9th in EPA, but 2nd in win probability for obvious reasons.
Be a huge difference there. Yeah.
9th in EPA, because that's just that individual play on 4th and 5, what would have added or taken away points, but 2nd in win probability. And the 4th and 1 sneak, or the Worthy catch that he talked about, was 7th in EPA and 9th in win probability.
So you're saying he's lying.
So what I'm saying is he's just making it up. And thankfully that we do have information to say, dude, you're full of bleep. Like you are just simply making it up because it fits your argument. It fits your narrative that's there. But before we had these advanced analytics, you would just have to hear, and like, well, you know what? He's probably studied it and watched it a number of times. Like he's on the air doing, it's his whole job to do this. So, you know, those are probably, I watched it once and I've got another job. I'm doing all these other things. I don't need to watch it again and go back and study. This is his job. So yeah, I agree. Those are the most talked about plays. So I think those were the most influential and impactful games or plays of the game. And we find out they aren't.
That dude's brutal, by the way. I mean, that guy's just
That's
obnoxious.
fine, but he's just a representative of, let me make something up and ignore what the numbers actually say.
Here we go, by the way. Jason McIntyre is a Fox Sports betting analyst.
Ooh, I wonder what
Fox Sports betting analyst. I wonder who he put money on.
Probably the 80% Bills.
I wonder why he's so angry.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, the Fox Sports betting analyst.
I just like the fact that I just like the fact that we have this information. Because what if those were the top 3, then hey, they were. Let's talk about what was happening. But the highest any of them rank in terms of either EPA or win probability is 2nd. The 2nd highest is 4th. So out of 6 opportunities, 3 plays, 2 different categories, EPA and win probability, 6 different opportunities. 2 of those 6 rank in the top 5, 2nd and 4th. The others rank 6th, 7th, 9th, and 9th.
Well, what it almost, if you want a legit takeaway here, it's almost that the Chiefs dominated.
Yes.
Maybe dominate's not the right word, but controlled the game more than the score indicated.
Yes.
If all those,
that's my takeaway from this, is that why doesn't anybody have the stones like Kent Swanson yesterday to say the Bills were lucky to keep this thing close in the game? 5 fumbles recovered. The most impactful play of EPA was not a takeaway. It was Mahomes and Pacheco mesh point dropping the ball.
Yeah, so I would say, 3 of the fumbles, let's be real, because 2 of them were, they were on the ground or they were at least in the air, but I think 3 were legit. So the Bills recovered 3 of the legitimate ones that you would expect to be 50-50, right? So we'll say that. They I just, all these EPA and all these analytical plays, all the stuff that went their way, I think we should have the conversation, the takeaway of the Bills were lucky to be even in a position where Dalton Kincaid and Josh Allen on 4th and 5 had a chance to potentially connect to even have a game-tying field goal. I think that should be more or less the takeaway, less so
Agreed.
It was down to the wire. It was a great game. It was a great game. But we can also be honest and say the Chiefs probably played a B-plus game while the Bills played about an A game, and they still lost. The Chiefs are just the better team.
Yeah.
If you have that many things go your way, all those plays and the fumbles, all the bounces, and you still lose, you're just clearly not as good of a team. That's what it comes down to.
And I think this information is why you see the results on Sunday, one team winning by 30, the other team winning by 3, kicking a field goal with 3 minutes to go and then getting a 4th down stop. The team that won by 3 is the favorite in the game. Where you all right, the Eagles, what are they going to be? What's the line going to be for the Eagles if the Chiefs or the Bills win? We'll see what happens here. Chiefs, they survived Buffalo. All right, Eagles going to be the Chiefs are favored? Oh, okay, interesting.
That might have been that was the best Chiefs game I think all season long. Against opponent adjusted, all that stuff. I think that was the best the Chiefs played. I know they gave up 29 points, but again, if we're going by some of these more, I don't want to say luck, variance.
Yeah, variance
maybe some
first time they cracked 30.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the offense of KC looked the best. I think it had been looking all year long.
The first drive looked like what? When's the last time the Chiefs looked like that on an entire drive? 2018, 19?
But defensively,
20?
though, my point with they gave it 29, but that Josh Allen and Mac Hollins specific play, let's use that one. What other team, Herbert's not making that throw? Some of the other great teams, some of the good teams they've played this year, they're not making that play. So that's 7 points off the board right there. And so we're sitting here going, they only gave up so-and-so to the Texans. Well, yeah, because C.J. Stroud and whatever wide receiver wasn't making that play. Only Josh and a bigger-bodied wide receiver who got 0.5 yards of separation.
Only Mac Hollins makes that catch.
Yeah,
we all know that.
That's not what I'm necessarily saying. I'm saying size-wise, but everything is more of a great throw. My point remains, I think that Chiefs game, I came away from that game going, what a great performance by Kansas City, even if the final result was only a 3-point victory.
Yeah, it just felt like moments along the way the Chiefs had opportunities just to firmly control the game that they couldn't really hold on to. Literally on one of those.
Yeah.
On the fumble on 2nd down and 2. That was 2nd and 2.
Yeah.
With a minute to play there. Well, in this first quarter, but 2nd and 2 at the 23-yard line, up 7-3. And they hadn't faced a 3rd down yet. They had yet to face a 3rd down. And they had gone 90 yards and then, 30, there was 20, 40, 47. So 137 yards. They hadn't faced a 3rd down yet, and they were facing 2nd down and 2.
And think about how accurate, if you want to dispel the efficiency ratings that you brought up, even, think about how accurate that is. We're about to drive down the field and go up 14-0 in our house.
14-3.
14-3 in our house when it's their year. That Josh Allen's supposed to overcome all this. He's nervous. You can completely tell he's nervous. But that completely flipped it and brought him right back in the football game because then they go down and score and make it 10-7.
Yeah, all of a sudden the Chiefs have gone 137 yards, hadn't faced a 3rd down, and they're
only
trailing 10-7?
Yep.
How does that happen? We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Shout out James Cook. We'll give him his props on the other side of the break. More Zone next. you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We had up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Matt Derrick coming up the top of the 11 o'clock hour, hang out with him for the hour, get his thoughts on the Chiefs and Bills, his takeaways from that game, what he saw from the Chiefs, and leading into early thoughts on Chiefs and Eagles. And if he knows the answer to Pete and repeat in a boat if one of them falls out, because you guys are clueless, have no idea. You, Sterling and Dylan, I don't know. My mind is not working right now. James Cook was led down a path to be able to bitch about the refs. He was given a loaded question about, man, how about these refs? These refs suck, right? I'm sick and tired of these refs. These refs are terrible. Refs. You guys got screwed because I'm tired of the refs, James Cook. And here's James Cook weighing in on coming away from that game with the loss.
How do you guys deal with that as players? Because you just got to deal with what's going on in front of you. But at some point, it's like, bro, do you kind of think about it more after the fact, after the game, or is it present in your mind while the game's going on? Kind of how does that affect it?
I'm gonna give you the most realest answer I can ever give you, bro. Like, for real, like, at the end of the day, bro, like, as a man, bro, like, you got to come in there and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, that ref, like, you feel me? Like, straight up, like, you got to come in ready to go, ready to play, and, like, once you don't get a ref, no, nothing to call, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
as a man, you've got to come in there ready to play. Bleep that ref bleep.
Don't give them any chance.
Shout out to James Cook, man.
That's why I love that. Don't get that 4th and inches.
Right.
Don't give them any chance to get involved. And by the way, I love the guy who asked the question. He was, like all, leading, and then I think he goes, yeah, 100%. As if he wasn't that's the answer he was expecting.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. Especially when the previous, it's from the podcast Kicking It with D, and on
D Ford?
Who's D?
D Stroyer. I actually don't know who D is. Gosh darn it. Well done, Dylan. I don't know.
Got him. Sophomore.
No, dude, that was a great setup, man. That was
he did,
nice.
Honestly, I don't know how people don't do that with his show more often, and who didn't tell him, hey, maybe Kicking It with D, maybe he's doing it on purpose. But
well, I guess
next up, it's Kicking It with Bofa.
Right,
I guess it's a dude named D Stroyer. I'm not sure. But the guy who was asking the question, former punter Brad Wing. Remember Brad Wing, LSU, played in the NFL for the Giants, punted, not played. I'm joking. Tommy Townsend and Arizet and Colquitt. Come on now. Just joking. He was a punter in the NFL, and now he's the co-host with D Stroyer, I guess, on Kicking It with D and Brad Wing. But Brad was the one sort of building up to the, man, I'm so sick and tired of the Chiefs, with James Cook on the line. I'm so sick and tired of the Chiefs getting all the calls, and this is ridiculous, and bleep this and bleep that, and this is some bull bleep, and bleeping this and bleeping that. And James, how do you deal with it as a player when the bleep like that's happening? Do you deal with it after the game, or is it in real time? Total loaded question, right? Because clearly what I'm saying is you're dealing with the refs screwing you guys. I'm not asking you if you think that. I am go ahead and we're all going to acknowledge together, James, that the refs screwed you guys, and I'm tired of the ref.
He assumed James Cook was going to be on his side, but you know what assuming does, Jason?
It makes an ass out of you and Ming. That's what everybody knows that when you assuming. You do that. And then James Cook said, bleep the ref bleep. As a man, you got to go in there ready to play. And you can't leave any doubt for the refs to make a call. Like, go win, essentially. And that's why yesterday or Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever it was, that we talked about the difference in what we heard from the teams that the Chiefs have played in the playoffs. That tells me the Texans are not close to winning a Super Bowl. The Texans lost by double digits, and they blame the refs. The Bills, for the 4th time with Josh Allen and McDermott, lose to the Chiefs. The 3rd time on the end of the game sort of play here or there. A couple of field goals and then, the overtime win. And they say, no, we're not talking about that. You got to go and win. To be the champs, you got to beat the champs. Bleep the ref bleep. As a man, you got to go in there ready to play. You don't leave it in the hands of the refs. So bleep the ref stuff. The Bills are way closer. We know that already. But the mentality And, I don't remember which Bill said it a couple days ago that said, yeah, we're going to keep kicking the door. And when we kick the door enough, it's going to be knocked down. We're going to keep getting there and kick the door, and we're going to knock it down eventually. Not, we got screwed, this is BS, and we should be there, and not them. The whole reason they're there is because the guys in the stripes. No. We've gotten there. We haven't done enough. But damn it, we're going to go back to work and get there again. And we will knock the door down when we get there again. And if we don't, damn it, we're going to go back to work to get there again. So we knock the door down that time.
Well, they knock it down, and who's standing?
The refs.
Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
Bleeping Mahomes.
I misread where you're going with that. He's standing on the graves of a lot of AFC QB's careers. Ticketbots. Ticketbots. Thank God it's Friday on the Zone. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810. The text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. Was there the Pro Bowl games already start?
It's over, right?
I can't believe you missed it.
You missed it. You blinked and you missed it.
Were they last night?
It was last night.
No,
What?
are you serious?
NFC and a big win, right?
We're kidding, right?
Why aren't they this weekend?
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the dodgeball game and everything was last night. I think
Well, because I'm
is
seeing
the
like
flag football game on.
well, like I'm seeing
Sunday?
like highlights of stuff, and I'm like, oh, that was probably
Yeah.
from last year. You know,
No, that was last night.
no clue,
Yeah.
no freaking clue.
NFL
Yeah.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what
Could
I
this
did?
be any dumber, by the way?
Could I be wearing any more clothes? You know what I did last night, Matt? Nothing.
You did not watch the
I
Pro
did
Bowl games.
nothing, and it was everything I thought it could possibly be. Because Monday I was rewatching Chiefs and Bills, Tuesday KU, Wednesday K-State, Friday hanging out with the family with no activities and stuff. Thursday, nothing. Had no idea the Pro Bowl
Well,
games
they
were
had
on.
dodgeball apparently last night. Helmet Harmony.
Man,
the
you know
big
what?
spike.
They should do dodgeball with wrenches.
Whack-a-mole.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
They did whack-a-mole?
No, I'm being a
Did
smart.
they do an
I'm
arm
being a
wrestling?
smart ass now.
Did they do thumb wars?
Here's the
1,
here's
2,
might.
3, 4. I declare thumb war, and then
There's
it's
a
like
still
football
stuff Sunday.
relay with guys not running very fast.
Oh, I can see them jogging. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a. So the relays are about as intense as the actual football games used
yeah,
to be.
pretty much.
Just jog until the last couple. Now all of a sudden, like,
Then all
oh,
of a sudden it's
well, I
like,
better
okay.
run now because now we need to win. Well, a little too late since your fastest wide receivers were the ones jogging. Now you got an offensive lineman and quarterbacks, and now it's a couple of running backs. It's Gibbs versus Mixon. Oh, Mixon fumbled the ball. Of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah, so apparently that was last night. Cool. Awesome.
That was last night. So,
yeah, but don't worry. Punt Perfect is Sunday.
So did Drake May won the passing results contest I'm seeing? Or no, it was the highest score wins. So Jared Goff won. Oh, see, nobody around him in accuracy. Jared Goff would win. That makes
NFC
sense.
14-7, big winners.
How about that, man? Well, all right, let's break down every single part of this Pro Bowl games.
This is the best thing about the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl seemingly every season is that I don't have to care about the Pro Bowl.
And here's the thing. Like, I saw a tweet from Cynthia yesterday during the day saying, heading to my first Pro Bowl to cover it. So excited. What do you want me to ask the players? But so I'm like, okay, yeah, she's heading down there, right? The Pro Bowl games will take place like Friday night or Saturday, like NBA All-Star Weekend, right? That would make sense. But the Pro Bowl flag football is on Sunday and the Pro Bowl games on Thursday? They really don't care about the Pro Bowl. And by the way, it's
No one
great.
should.
It's
I
great
mean-
because of the 5 of the last 6 years, we haven't had to worry about the Chiefs in the Pro Bowl at all. Chiefs haven't had to worry about going to the Pro Bowl or anything like that. It's been perfectly fine. It's been great. And you know what? The quarterback for the AFC isn't even a Pro Bowl quarterback anyway. So I mean,
Drake May really a Pro Bowl quarterback? Is he really at the Pro Bowl games?
Yes.
yeah, he is. He was an
Okay.
alternate.
So that tells me about 12 other people did not care about
Russell
the Pro Bowl
Wilson was
either, so-
Russell Wilson was also named an alternate
Yeah.
for the Pro Bowl.
that's-
So neither of the starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl are Pro Bowlers.
Man, if Carson Wentz was free, he probably was next alternate then.
Might have been, yes. I also want, like, if Pro
Snoop
Bowls,
Huntley was one year.
you would know this maybe better than I. Do Pro Bowl alternates, if you're chosen and you participate, does that actually count as you making a Pro Bowl, or is it you have to be named to the Pro Bowl, or is there a asterisks of, well, he was a Pro Bowl alternate 2 years? Like, is Drake May a Pro Bowler, or is Drake May a Pro Bowl alternator?
It depends on
Alternator.
who you're asking.
Okay.
Pro Football Reference says Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler in a year that he played 4 games and had 658 yards with more interceptions than touchdowns.
Okay, so then here's my question, and Mahomes does not care about this in any way, shape, or form. If it actually counts towards legacy and making a Pro Bowl, then shouldn't your Pro Bowl alternates go in order of what you think the Pro Bowl performance was this year?
Technically, it is.
Right, but Mahomes can't compete in this. So
Right.
Mahomes didn't get a Pro Bowl alternate invite because he
True.
can't compete. So they skipped
Correct.
right over Mahomes.
Correct. So he will not be given a Pro Bowl.
Right. So what I'm saying
Yeah.
is if it's legacy, then you should say, here, Mahomes is a Pro Bowler. He can't make it. We will then say, an alternate who was clearly below the performance of Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. That's all I was saying, is if an alternate is actually viewed the same as you made a Pro Bowl.
I mean, that is an interesting point, which is that, probably by the end of this, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they might be able to say they made more Pro Bowls than Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes was never in. But then again, he was voted in the Pro Bowl some years.
Right, but if he's not voted in, he's not going to be an alternate. So if he doesn't
get voted in and he doesn't actually play or participate in that week, then yes, he's not considered a Pro Bowler. But then again, Snoop Huntley, Drake May, they get to say they were Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
But it doesn't count. Like, if they have bonuses in their contract, they don't get the bonus.
No, but someone's going to look back in 20 years and they'll be like, let's find the most random player we can think of. Someone's going to look up Tyler Huntley's Pro Football Reference and see 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, Pro Bowl.
Here's what we do. Next week at the Super Bowl, if Snoop's down, then we say Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley joining us here in the zone.
100% you do.
That's how he's introduced.
There you go.
He'll be introduced that way moving forward. Good for him, though. You know what? I don't hate the fact that he gets to say that in his career. He's played way more games in the NFL than I have. So good for him. I'm just thinking legacy-wise, if you play in the Super Bowl and you weren't voted into the Pro Bowl, you then will not get a Pro Bowl nod, even as an alternate, because you can't play anyway. So that hurts Jalen Hurts and, no pun intended, and Patrick Mahomes, because both of those guys would have been Pro Bowl alternate selections if they both lost on Sunday.
Chiefs Pro Bowl wide receiver Richie James.
Which would be just one of the many, many reasons why the Pro Bowl does not matter.
I'm with you on that. All right, let's done with the Pro Bowl, because I was just joking about the Pro Bowl games. Again, I had no idea they were last night. I did absolutely nothing.
5 minutes of our lives.
I did absolutely nothing, and it was everything I thought it could possibly be. Matt Derrick, let's get into it, because you may have to jump out and take a phone call at 11:45. So let's get into. Look, Matt Derrick has job interviews. I'm not saying anything for 41 is the Mike, podcast or Chiefs Digest. I'm just saying
51 is the mic.
I'm just saying.
You make it sound like I'm interviewing people to do a job for me.
No. Matt confided in me, and I guess it was in confidence that he told me this. So I apologize. I'm speaking out of turn. He's got some job interviews lined up. So Monster.com, he's reaching out, and 11:45, he's got a big call coming up. So
I love inside jokes.
Pulling for you to get that.
I'd love to be a part of one someday.
Assistant coaching job with Schottenheimer. I think you're going to get it, man. I think you're going to get it. All right, takeaway from the Bills and Chiefs game. Is that not true?
I'm not saying.
Is that? I thought, are we not in the trust tree? Are we not in the circle of trust here? All right, takeaway from Chiefs and Bills game. Let's get into this actual conversation here, because I know that we need to stop wasting time, because we have 2 hours of conversation before the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. So let's get into it. Takeaway, let's look back first and what we saw and what we can sort of gather as we move forward to the Super Bowl. How did you think they played, and what was your takeaway from Chiefs and Bills on Sunday?
I mean, obviously, the Chiefs played pretty well. I heard you talking about the opening drive. I completely agree. I mean, that was...
Do you have a memory? Like, how long ago do you think it looked like that for the Chiefs? In a drive, like 90 yards, 9 plays, like it was like hot knife through butter.
I mean, I feel like they've had a couple of those this year. I mean, not many, but I feel like they've had a couple of those this year.
Well, what about the first 2 drives before the fumble, that it was just like they were kind of doing whatever they wanted?
Yeah, up until then, I mean, no. I mean, that had been that was precision. I mean, that definitely looked more like the Chiefs offense that we think of.
Right.
When you're talking about the Chiefs offense, I mean, and the explosiveness and just the consistency and just going downfield and taking care of business. That's exactly how it looked. And I mean, they had Buffalo on their heels for the first couple of drives and everything like that. And you had the turnover. If the Chiefs don't turn the football over there, I mean, I think they probably put it away. I mean, I think the game was over at that point if they hold on to the football, punch it in.
How disciplined would the Bills have been down 14-3 to hand it to James Cook, to say, hey, we're good. Let's just get back into our regular flow. Let's hand it off. Let's play the game we play, run with Josh Allen here, and not panic of, we're down 14-3. We got to get it all back right now. Oh, my God, here we go again.
Well, we know what they would probably do in panic, because
have Johnson in there.
We saw them on the final drive of the game, and in the fourth quarter, when James Cook had just been eating the Chiefs alive, running, just bouncing along at close to 7 yards a play. Maybe I guess it was even higher than that, actually, when you throw in the receiving yards. He was just absolutely torching the Chiefs, and then supposedly your quarterback even has a hurt throwing hand. And you don't get James Cook involved at all at the end, that just baffled me.
It
absolutely baffled me.
It would be the Chiefs' version of, and by the way, some of those runs by James Cook are like, all right, how did he slither through there to pick up 8 yards? Because I didn't see the path through the maze that he saw to get those 8 yards of jump cut here, fake cut right, then goes around a blocker that was in his blind side that slides right and crosses his face, and now he picks up another 5 yards after that. It's like, well, I don't know what the Chiefs could have done defensively because the vision there from James Cook. And then Johnson is not that guy.
No,
so to me, it would be, let's take Pacheco off the field and we're going to give these carries to Clyde. Like, why would you do that? I'm not saying Clyde, the vision of James Cook, but just the Chiefs version of, you've got Pacheco in there, but then you're giving these carries late to Clyde. There'd be a lot of questions. Lucy, you got some splaining to do, would be the feeling around here if it was Clyde over Pacheco on the final drive and you handed the ball off to him and he lost a yard, and he was the one that was in there for the game.
An apt comparison, but that to me goes back to coaching and experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to, at that point, especially in the fourth quarter and on that final drive, and once again, I mean, how much easier would you have made it life for your quarterback if maybe you could put him into 2nd and 3 instead of 2nd and long and 3rd and long and 4th and long? I mean, that's what they needed to do, and they just, on one hand, Buffalo just stuck with what they do. They were like, hey, this is the team that we are. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to change it. And then to a degree, I mean, they kind of got to the fourth quarter and got to the final drive, and they were like, okay, here's what we've done all game that's worked. We're not going to do it now. I mean, it's kind of the both bad sides of the coaching, because one, and this is what my overall take for the entire game and why the Chiefs won, to me, was the Chiefs surprised the Bills because they surprised them with some of the things they did offensively with some unscouted looks. They surprised them at the right time with the right blitz at the right opportunity, and Buffalo did nothing the entire game that surprised the Chiefs. And nothing better than the fact that the Chiefs felt confident enough to tell the CBS broadcast crew in the production meeting that Josh Allen always goes to his left.
That's right.
On 4th and short and 3rd and short and on those sneaks. And they did it every single time.
Except
even after it was on the broadcast, and somebody could have called down the sideline and said, hey, Chiefs figured it out.
The only time he didn't go left is when he fumbled. He went over the top and fumbled. So either he went left and barely picked it up or didn't, or he fumbled the ball by not going left. Like, at some point, you got to switch it up, right? Or when people are talking about, like, okay, so name the plays that, James Cook, all right? So Ty Johnson's in the game. He gets the first down and 10 carry. He loses a yard. Okay, they should have given it to James Cook. What would be the thing there? Okay, well, they still picked up a first down with Josh Allen's legs. All right, so it's 1st and 10, and there's, 2.5 minutes to go. Is that when you're handing the ball off to James Cook? I don't know, maybe. But I would say on 4th and 1, when you had already been stopped and your conversions had been by minimal, or you fumbled the ball and recovered it yourself, the previous set of downs, you just had to convert 4th and 1 by jumping over the pile. You weren't really in a position to where you go, this is working. This has been the tush push. It's unstoppable. Let's just get up here and do it again. At that point, hey, take your time. Also, maybe give yourself time to challenge the 3rd down play, because people are complaining and saying that Kincaid was not down on that 3rd down play, that he picked up the first down. Maybe he did, but you went fast to go to the quarterback sneak, and instead of, hey, we got 4th and 1, we think you got a first down, quarterback sneak isn't working. You know what's working? James Cook. Let's hand it to that guy because he's been pretty good, and our offensive line is really good as well. I don't know. There's a lot of blame to go around, and I think minimal on the spot, blame on the Bills, and also kudos and pats on the back and attaboys and massive respect for the Chiefs D-line and linebackers in bowing up and making that stop, as tired as they were throughout the game. And that drive to then get that stop in that moment when they're rushing up to the line of scrimmage to go, it's unbelievable.
And kudos to Chiefs coaches and scouts who figured it out, figured out what the Bills did, and figured out how to counter it. I mean, that's a bigger part of football than we ever really acknowledge and realize, is
totally
just your ability to look at the other team's tendencies, figure out what they do, what they like to do in certain situations, where they have tells, and not only that, but even cleaning up your own tells, because that 4th and 5 blitz of Steve Spagnuolo's, I mean, Josh Allen had no idea where the blitz was coming from because they did not tip it off. There was no
They did
clue.
the exact opposite.
There was no clue whatsoever.
Do you think he is the only defensive coordinator who runs a blitz like that in that situation?
There's probably a few.
Where he
out
takes
there.
his best on 4th and 5. He takes his best cover man,
Yeah,
and his,
I think
and his best safety, and blitzes them both, and leaves a man uncovered for the first 7 or 8 yards of his route. With a safety trying to come down, a quick little drop off to that guy would pick up 5 yards. Yeah, I mean, I think he's the only one with stones that he's walking around with to do that. Maybe I don't
think
know.
Wink Martindale would.
Yeah, Wink Martindale would bring everybody.
Lou Anarumo might.
I guess maybe my thought process
Lou
is,
Anarumo would drop 8.
Do you have to have? I almost think you almost have to have the rings. Yes, you have to have the stones to do it, but you have to have the rings. I think because if you don't and that play doesn't work, let's just say hypothetically again, Kincaid comes down with that ball. That's a whole different conversation we're having. We're having how did you send Trent McDuffie and Justin Reed in that situation, right?
Yep. And how did Kincaid get that wide open?
It's a results-oriented business, but Spags is one of those guys who can say, this is what I do. I've won this amount of rings because of doing the same thing. And it worked in this situation, and clearly we're all talking about it. I just don't know how many other DCs would do it, because if it does not work, maybe that's on their mind. How do they handle that media fire that would come their way?
And conversely, though, I mean, I say there's another element to it even, which is that I'm not sure 2019 Spags or 2020 Spags calls that blitz there.
But now with 4 rings,
because
Spags.
Well, not even that, but just that it's he trusted that Shamari Connor, Jaden Hicks, Brian Cook, Mike Dana, and Nick Bolton, who are the 5 guys who dropped off.
Yeah, that's right, because Dana dropped into coverage.
Dana dropped into coverage.
Because everybody's like, oh, he should have dropped it off to Shakir. Well, if he did drop it off to Shakir, I'm not saying Mike Dana wins. Mike Dana would be over there. I think Shakir wins one-on-one in that much space, needing 5 yards, and only Mike Dana. But it wasn't like Shakir was so wide open and just left alone that he was going to catch it and run down. Dana had that area.
Did he heat up Garoppolo on 4th and 5 or 10 in Super Bowl after? I think that was like the first time he felt comfortable just sitting in the house because he missed Emmanuel Sanders, and it was like, okay, well, if he's not ready for this moment, I'm about to bring 8 or 7.
There were a couple of them. One was, I keep thinking it was Ben Neiman, but I could be wrong. That blitz to the left side, they double-teamed Chris Jones, but he brought that blitz, and he goes in. Quite frankly, I'll admit, I think he got Garoppolo in the helmet. I think he was tackling up and right in the helmet. Garoppolo's head snaps back. Those things happen. But that wasn't when the Chiefs were getting all the calls. That was when they were the darlings of the NFL. But yeah, he's done that before. It's just his blitz schemes, and Justin Reed talks about it all the time. And I am not nearly smart enough, educated enough, football-wise savvy to know why these certain blitz and coverage schemes are so different with Spags than other coaches that are like, hey, let's just bring a blitz over here, and then that means you got that guy, for them to be able to do those different coverage types of things with different blitzes from everywhere else, as to why Spags is so unique to other defensive coordinators.
I mean, I think it really goes back to teaching and trust, because, I remember really stood out because it was back at a rookie mini camp, and it was one that was indoors. It was in the facility. I don't know, it was just too hot or too rainy that day, too humid, something. But Spags was out there one-on-one with Jaden Hicks at a rookie mini camp, and was working on blitzes and just, teaching him how to, line up, where to line up, making sure that you don't move too early, how you disguise. I mean, he was teaching him, showing him how to disguise it, to make sure that the quarterback doesn't pick up any clues on you about what you're giving away. And all 11 guys in that field on that 4th and 5, nobody gave a clue.
Yeah.
Nobody tipped off whether they were dropping back or whether they were blitzing. Nothing whatsoever. And I hadn't seen it, but I guess somebody was saying that they were watching the Amazon cast of it, and it was they
didn't even have the
didn't attack anybody. It was blitz. There was no
alert.
Blitz detected.
There was no alert.
No alert.
There was no red circle alert that this guy's coming.
No, because it was an unscouted look. I mean, it was something they hadn't done before, and on top of that, not only was it an unscouted look that they hadn't run, not only did they not tip it off, everything like that, but every guy on that team basically knew what blitz was coming. I mean, George Karloftis was talking about this with me, and just that and some of the other players were too. Was like, yeah, we kind of knew what Spags was going to call here. Karlaftis thought it actually might be more aggressive.
Does it get more aggressive? Was he going to bring Bolton too?
Two of the guys in coverage were Mike Dana and Nick Bolton.
Thought it might be more aggressive, but he was like, this is one of the calls that was like in my head that he was going to go to right there. Even Jaden Hicks, new guy, was like, yeah, I thought it was going to be like one of 3 calls. Everybody knew what that call was going to be because he's taught him that. I mean, they've learned it, and he's got trust and confidence in these guys.
And he was setting it up all game. I love the quote from Osiris Torrance that we read on Monday, in him saying that they had showed the blitz, they had showed pressure, and went the other way all game, and so that's why we slid protection left, and because that we were going to slide protection left, because if we slide right, then you've got one-on-one with Chris Jones, and if they don't come that way, then you've got guys who aren't blocking anybody and Chris Jones one-on-one. So they slid protection left because they thought it was Bolton coming, and maybe another safety from that side. They didn't think Reed, and certainly didn't think McDuffie was coming. They did not think McDuffie was coming at all. And Osiris Torrance said it was like the entire game he was waiting for that moment to break out that pressure. And he was. Let's be honest, he was. But McDuffie also said something, the not having a tell. I think that's a great point, because Trent McDuffie said something, and then Ryan Clark also sort of backed it up as well. Trent McDuffie said, he was trying not to give anything away, right? Looking in or looking at the receiver, and Ryan Clark said sometimes a quarterback can get a tell from a defensive back if the defensive back is going out of his way not to look, just like staring somewhere else. It's like, because a lot of defensive backs will be looking around, looking down the line of scrimmage to the ball, looking and setting things up where the guys are. But he's like, if a defensive back is just staring at the receiver, he's like, sometimes that's a tell that he is coming. But Trent McDuffie was looking down. He was looking in the backfield. He was looking at it. He didn't, give a tell to where a quarterback might be like, all right, this guy is.
I love McDuffie because he is one of the most intelligent players, in my opinion. And for how young he is, and you notice it as a rookie, is one of those situations where, we know about the arm length, and that's why Mac Hollins was able to score a touchdown. But 99% of the time, that does not play a factor because he is so smart at using the boundaries, right? He uses out of bounds to his advantage. You think it might be a common concept, but how many cornerbacks do we see in the NFL who drift over and allow too much space? When was the last time you've seen McDuffie do that? And just to your point, McDuffie's intelligence and knowing of, this is a tell. He'd be a great gambler, by the way. He'd take all my money.
Right.
But just the intelligence of Trent McDuffie, to me, I love watching smart players play football. And the Chiefs have so many smart players with Justin Reed and Nick Bolton and all the guys, but those 3 really stand out. I'm just so darn impressed.
Before we go to break, I want to piggyback off what Matt you were saying about showing unscouted looks and doing things going against tendencies. Here's Travis Kelce on New Heights from Wednesday, and he was talking about that diamond formation with the 2 tight ends and then the running back behind Patrick Mahomes 3 different times, 3 different plays off of it. Pacheco to the right gained 4 yards. Kareem Hunt to the left gained a 12-yard touchdown, and then the mesh point with Mahomes kept it and had the touchdown run with Kelce out in front. Here's Travis Kelce talking about that specific play / formation.
I'll tell you what, man. We put that play in the game plan this week. I was like, that's going to hit.
You knew it?
I knew
What made you
away,
think
dude. We'd never ran that play before. We never gave Pat the full ability to just keep it on the run.
Yeah.
You get 2 guys pulling for the back, you get 2 guys pulling for Pat, and it's like the line has to. I mean, the linebackers have to make a decision. That DN has to make a decision on who he's taking. And we ran it before. Kareem scores for the touchdown because everyone's running with me, Noah, and Pat. And this time they hesitate trying to read it out, and we're out the gate before they can even adjust to it.
They've never run the play before. They put it into the game plan last week, and they scored 2 touchdowns on it.
And they stole it from Baltimore because it worked so well against the Bills that
they saw the Ravens do it. They hadn't run it before. So that tells me, one, the refs clearly helped them. Oh, wait, no. They're a well-disciplined team. They're a well-coached team. We put in this play this week. This isn't a foundational piece. This is part of the game plan. We put in this play this week, and they ran it flawlessly 3 times, but twice ran it perfectly on the mesh point with Kareem Hunt. Mahomes read it perfectly both times, and the defense was not ready for either one of those. and they just put it in last week in the biggest game of the season, AFC Championship, and they went out there and executed. Maybe they're just a higher level of executing team when the lights are brightest, when they have been sort of getting through the slog of the season to finally be on the beachfront property to enjoy what now, all the work they have put in, to enjoy the time now that you get that particular view. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. More Zone with Matt Derrick next. ChiefsDigest.com. 41 is the Mike podcast.
I love Warrant. I'm sorry.
Who doesn't love
I know
Warrant?
I picked a good song if Matt Derek's singing along
Yes.
to the song.
I love Warrant.
Yeah.
Cherry Pie, Where the Down Boys Go. Where
Jamie-
the Down
Jamie Lynn, rest in
Boys
peace.
go. Why did all singers back
They
then
go to
just
Cancun. That's what they do because there's a lot of boys that were
Full.
down in this postseason.
Settle.
Let me tell you about that. They go to Cancun because they're not going to New Orleans with the Chiefs and the Eagles. ELGLSES Elgazas. Hanging out with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast.
He just loves Robert Spillane.
Dylan was giving me the hold on. So I'm like, I'm holding. Hold. William Wallace over here. I can't hold. I've seen the whites of
You
their
know
eyes,
what?
Dylan. It's
Just
time to
be
move
Joe
on.
Tooney. Joe Tooney holds forever.
Well, that's
without
what-
holding.
No, I mean, that's Chiefs hold all the time. We'll just be the Chiefs. Hey, Matt, Kareem Hunt, 25 carries in the postseason in the two games, 11 forced missed tackles. That is a 44% missed tackle rate. His regular season rate was 19.6%. He more than doubled that. Is that rest? Is that Kareem's like, bleep you? You're not going to tackle me on this play? Whereas, like, in the regular season, you've carried it for 10, 11 times. This guy's hitting me and maybe not digging as hard as I could on each individual play versus I get to play in the postseason for the Chiefs. And you right there, you're not tackling me. Combination of those, what did you see from Kareem Hunt as to why he's almost 50% of his carries, he's forcing a missed tackle on it?
He's rested. He's motivated. I mean, it's all of the above. I think obviously the couple of weeks of just, no hits on the body, I think that certainly helped. Got him rested. And there is nobody on this team, I think, more motivated to win a Super Bowl ring than Kareem Hunt. I mean, everything that he's gone through, it's more of a journey than I think even like DeAndre Hopkins has been through. Charles Omenihu. I mean, there are some guys who have obviously really toiled and gone through some things to get to this moment, but Kareem's kind of been through them all. I mean, it's not only just age for him. I mean, running back, he's getting close to the point where some guys just fall off a cliff. I mean, you don't know. I mean, at that position, at his age, you just never know when the end's going to come. He may have thought that during this offseason when he was at home and nobody called to say that they wanted him. And, obviously with the journey that he's had off the field to get here. But, I mean, he kind of ticks all the boxes. I mean, he's probably had some injuries where he had the injury last year. It's probably, once again, didn't know if he was going to get to play, if they would let him get that chance. He's been through it all.
Did we know before yesterday that Kareem was the one that reached out to the Chiefs and not the Chiefs reaching out to Kareem when
I didn't know
when
it.
Pacheco
So it
went
was
down?
kind of a new wrinkle. Well, Andy mentioned it on Sunday that, Kareem called him after.
Well, I mean,
Pacheco
before
went
so
down. But
before this
before
whole
this
thing,
week, before this week, that was new information to me.
I've been under the impression the whole time that the Chiefs were like, hey, we're looking for running backs who's out there. Do we call Kareem? Let's see what Kareem's doing right now. But his agent said, it can't hurt. Give him a call. See if they are interested. And then the next day, Andy Reid called him back and said, we're interested. And now he's heading to New Orleans with this team. Good on that agent. A little bonus to the agent for, pushing him to say, you know what, just go over and talk to her. What's the worst she can say is no? Then he walks back with a drink in his face and a handprint across. Like, no, the worst she could say is not no. She threw a drink in my face and slapped me. So, yeah. But no, he's now heading to the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and it's a really cool redemption story. But, yeah, I thought that was a little nugget that I had no idea that it was Kareem that was the one that was like, no, I'll be the aggressor here. Let me reach out and see if they would like to bring me in.
Little behind the scenes nugget that happens more often than you think.
Yeah, right. Yes.
You never know how these things go down sometimes.
Yes. I thought it was great that we know this about the players, but Justin Reed talking about film study and that great play he made on Khalil Shakir, in which he ran across the field like a missile and met him at the catch point, really, with Shakir, who couldn't turn around and try to make a move because Justin Reed just enveloped him. And, Reed was like, well, film study. We saw this, we saw that, and I just, what do you say, shot my shot or unleashed this, something. It was like, all right, I'm just going in. We're not going to break down. I am like a missile going and hitting them. And it's not that other teams don't do that, but it is that it seems like the Chiefs, week in and week out, seem to be the more prepared team. You can watch film, but what film are you watching? Because I think that matters. Like, one of the things in hosting a show, quite frankly, for me in the first few years was figuring out how to prep for a show. Like, you could sit there and prep for a show, but 3 or 4 years in, you're like, man, I remember when I was doing this, and this, and that wasn't working. I was doing all this stuff that I never even got into.
I would write a Leo Tolstoy book
100%,
of yours, like
my first segment would
13
be
13 pages worth of.
I'd be almost reading my opening segment, my monologue.
Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback.
Yes.
He went.
But it's like, you see what you actually need. So your prepping for a show is more efficient. When you are as well coached, and there isn't the turnover on this coaching staff too, I think that's mammoth. That, you have an idea of what's more efficient in film study and what you're watching, and that comes through in play, and it's sort of just taken for granted, I think, when there's so much turnover by coaches and younger coaches coming up that may not be as skilled or as knowledgeable of which parts of the film that we need to study here.
And I want to give another compliment to Justin Reed on this, because it's not even plays like that, but I'm going to bring special teams into it too, because, you got 22 guys on defense, 22 guys on offense. I mean, you don't have to have starters on special teams in this league all the time. I mean, sometimes you do, certain positions. I mean, hey, you need offensive line block on for your field goal team and everything. Yeah, I mean, you're going to put your starters out there. I mean, that's just part of the case. So you're going to have some places. But Justin Reed doesn't have to play the position that he does on special teams. He does because I think he wants to, because he's good at it. And two, I mean, Dave Tobe asks him to, so he plays that. But he doesn't just play that position. He scouts. He watches film. I mean, he's the one that figures – he tries every single week to figure out the cadence and the timing so that he can jump as quickly as he can to try and block a field goal. And – I mean, that's him. I mean, once again, it's going back to film work, and it's the work that and the time that he puts in. He's one of the best in the business at it. And, not every team has that. Not every team has a guy like that. I mean, that's why, Justin Reed's value goes beyond just what you get as a defensive player and just the, box score. To me, I mean, there's a whole lot more that goes into it. It
was a great game from the standpoint, Matt, that we didn't come out of this game talking about the offensive line. We didn't come out of this game talking about, Week 11, Rousseau dominated Wanya Morris a few times. There was some rough plays in that game where Mahomes didn't have a whole lot of time. Now, maybe it was scheme, quick passing game, whatever you want to, there was no conversation about, the offensive line just gave Mahomes no time. There was one play with Phillips picking up Caliendo and handing him to Patrick Mahomes.
Do you guys want to take a guess at what Joe Tooney's pass block grade was in this one?
I actually did not look, so I don't
know.
It
would be high because he
have to be high. Well,
didn't give up any pressures.
Well, here's
sacks,
the thing.
So.
I would say this might be one of them where you're asking because this might be a Pro Football Focus is wrong in your mind. I'm going to say it was 60.
I mean, should have been 90.
Yeah, well, I'm with Matt here, so I'm playing devil's advocate.
His pass block grade was 89.3,
okay, yes.
which is absolutely elite.
That's why I said I'm with Matt of what it should be, but
0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 hurries, 0 pressures. 100% efficiency ranking for Joe Tooney in pass protection.
Yeah,
which actually to me does beg a little bit of a question. What do you have to do
to get higher than that? Yeah, I don't know.
It does beg. The question is begging. You're begging. What do you have to do?
I mean, did he have to take Greg Rousseau and just kind of bend him in and then pack him back in the box?
Every single one had to be a pancake.
You had to actually...
And actually not a pancake. It was actually a crepe. It was weird. They're like, pancake's not good enough. You got to turn them into a crepe.
You had to try to figure out how to get this back in the box so you could return it to the store.
Exactly.
You got it out of the box, but you're like, how did I get this...
reboxing.
How is this in the box to begin with? This is not fitting here.
Greg Rousseau was a fitted sheet, and you had to fold him back just like
Nobody can do that.
It came out of the box.
So there's no 100. So you can't... So what you're saying is you can't get a 100 if you have to fold a fitted sheet to get a 100. It's just impossible.
Is Joe Tooney just I don't know if elite's the right word, but is he a legitimate, damn good left tackle? Because he's gone from his first left tackle start where he goes, okay, he's getting by. Then the second one was, okay, he's improving. Third one, he was, okay, he's really good. And then we saw him in this game, and you're like, damn, he might just be a top 10.
I think he's a good...
Maybe I'm overreacting to one game here.
Matt. I think he's a good... that can be really good based on matchup specific players that he goes up against. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I think it says something that two of the best coaches in NFL history saw Joe Thuney and were like, nah, you're going to play guard or center. I mean, you're not a tackle anymore. You're not going to be a tackle. And if you ever do play left tackle, it's because a lot of things have gone wrong, and we're desperate. It's a dire situation. I mean, it's what Belichick and Andy Reid basically both said this week when they were talking about Joe Thuney together. Yeah. And, I mean, and that's why, go to the Houston game. That's the one for me, because I say this about Buffalo, how the Buffalo defense attacked the Chiefs offense. It's either because they don't feel like that they have elite defensive ends, and certainly maybe they're not as good as Houston's were for sure. They're not as good as Houston's are for sure. But they didn't do the scouting that they needed to, because they did not attack Joe. Joe Thuney has got those 32.25-inch T-Rex arms.
Yes.
You go after him on his outside, but go where he can't reach you. And that's where I say that I think would be the problem with Joe Thuney playing left tackle full time, is that most teams are going to eventually figure out, okay, you just go wide on him, rush him that way, because as good as he is, his arms are too short to be able to get his hands on you if you get outside on him. And he knows that. He knows what his weakness is, so he counters it the best he can. But if you got teams week in and week out playing him like Houston did, he's not going to look as good as he did against Buffalo, because Buffalo just, once again, scouting and coaching-wise, didn't do the job.
And the Eagles are built more like the Bills than they are the Texans with their defensive line, with Sweat, Smith, and Hunt on their defensive, especially Nolan Smith.
They're good, but they're not Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter.
No. You're not going to get a bull rush from those three guys. You're not going to get a displaced Joe Thuney that he can anchor, but still is going to get pushed back 3 or 4 feet. You're going to get speed. Maybe they'll try speed to power, but I don't know that you're going to get much of that. You're not going to get to the level of Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, that speed to power or here's a move too. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling along, and talk a little bit about that matchup on that interior defensive line for the Eagles, which can be monstrous for them and impactful against the offense for the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. But, Matt, full week to break down the Chiefs and Eagles, but we will talk next Friday from 11 to noon down in New Orleans at Radio Row.
Can't wait.
Yes, I am looking forward to next week. What's an early matchup maybe that you've been kind of looking at? I know we will break this thing down, and there are 50 different layers that we'll talk about it from all week long. But is there initial sort of matchup that you're looking at and focusing on that is going to play a big role in this game?
I mean, there's probably a handful of them, but I mean, the first thing I'm going to be interested in seeing is, how the Chiefs deploy Trent McDuffie and where he's going to be lined up and what they decide to do with him. Because, I mean, it's been really amazing this year. I mean, how that they have used him. I even against Buffalo, I tried to pick up a pattern, and there really wasn't one. I mean, it was. I wish I could figure it out. I mean, it almost seemed that there was a rotation because he played on the right side, played on the left side. He wasn't. Now, he did seem to follow Keon Coleman a lot, but he ended up in a lot of different places. I mean, and
not much slot, though.
But not much slot. I think that, they felt like that maybe Shakir on him was, but they would prefer to him maybe have him take care of somebody else one-on-one and be able to shade a little bit of bracket coverage towards Shakir a little bit. So even when they had someone in the slot like Connor on him, they also had a safety over the top. So I think they just wanted to give a little bit more attention to Shakir, while letting McDuffie maybe take care of somebody else. But it wasn't any specific. I mean, it wasn't like, they just targeted him, but put him on one receiver. But I'll be interested to see, is it Brown? Is it Smith? How do they attack?
Well, sorry, Sterling.
No, you're good.
But,
Go ahead. Yeah.
But I was going to say, it's an interesting matchup because McDuffie is awesome. So we know that. This isn't to say that he can't guard either, but speed has been questioned for McDuffie, and Devontae Smith is really fast. Well, size has been questioned for McDuffie, and A.J. Brown is a beast. So it's like either one you put them on, that person in theory would have, if they could take advantage of that asset over what McDuffie may quote unquote lack, then they could have an advantage in that if he guards one of them or just simply follows one of them.
But Sterling has hit on the key.
What's the key, Sterling?
Which is that.
Are you the gatekeeper because I'm the key master?
I mean, how do you make up for speed and size? Be smarter than the other guys.
Smarts. Yep. Work smarter, not harder.
Which one would you prefer the Chiefs do? Because Dylan and I have traditionally been the Bill Belichick method, where you take away wide receiver 2, and then on wide receiver 1 you put your CB2 and safety help. Right? I think traditionally to me that makes the most sense. But with the Eagles, they somewhat have 2 wide receiver 1s. I know on their depth chart and what everyone's going to say is A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith is an incredible wide receiver talent as well.
Top 10 pick.
Which way do you see the Chiefs trying to employ McDuffie in this one?
See, and that's what I think is really interesting, because it's also, this could be a difficult matchup for the Chiefs in this sense, because particularly in the final, maybe just the quarter, could be third of the season, but certainly throughout the playoff run, Chiefs played a lot more dime than they had at any point earlier in the season. And I think a big part of that is that, we've talked about in the past, Spags finding the right rotation, the right lineup, and defensive back has been that problem this year. I mean, injuries played a part of it, but performances played a part of it too. He finally figured out his best defense is basically putting 4 safeties out there and 2 corners. But my question is can you afford to do that when Saquon Barkley's in the backfield?
Yeah.
Or do you need to have an extra linebacker out there? Or can you trust Jaden Hicks and Shamari Connor to play in the box and be able to bring down Saquon Barkley?
Feels like a big Leo game because they did that.
It could be a big Leo
Was that
game.
in 2020? I know they did against San Fran, a lot of Leo.
Yeah.
Let me see.
And you've got Jalen Watson, so, hey, you could do a matchup where, hey, you just lean on your corners to win outside, lean on Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie to be able to take on Smith and Brown. I mean, you're going to have to rely on Connor to play in the slot, but then, can you get away with just, playing 2 safeties and bringing in an extra linebacker to defend against Barkley?
But if you do that, then a guy who had a big game against the Commanders was Dallas Goedert, and had a couple of big catches against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The first half, A.J. Brown and Goddard combined were 7 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, it was A.J. and Goddard that Jalen Hurts was looking to. Devontae Smith had a couple of catches, and then Gainwell had 2, Barkley had 1, but it was Goddard and Brown, and Goddard ended up with 7 catches, 85 yards in that game against the Commanders. So if you load up, like we're gonna go more base because we got to stop Saquon, well, then now Dallas Goedert has a mismatch, and he's pretty good. I mean, that's what Saquon has created for this Eagles offense.
By the way, Leo only was a rookie, so take it with a grain of salt, but only played 18 snaps in that 2022 Super Bowl. But for him, 18 snaps, if we remember how great Leo was in those 18 snaps, did have 5 tackles, 4 stops, had a sack. Yeah, he was incredible. And then that kind of – but he's very matchup dependent, it feels like. Yeah. If you go through a snap count, a lot of times they're a run-heavy San Fran, the year following in 2023, he had 27 snaps, which was one of the most of, that was the most of the playoffs for Leo last year.
And even though he's a rookie, I like the possibility of a matchup of Jaden Hicks on Saquon Barkley, tackling standpoint. I mean, Reed's a good tackler. The other part of it, too, is that, obviously the entire Chiefs secondary, Trent McDuffie's a good run supporter, too. Yeah. So that can be, maybe that is the advantage. The Chiefs have a very good run defense most of the time. So, James Cook performance was enough to make you just go, well, I don't want to see Saquon Barkley against this group right now. And maybe that is that the Chiefs, go a more traditional 4-3. Maybe they do put more linebackers out there to try and defend against Barkley.
I also don't think the Eagles' offensive line is as good as Buffalo's offensive line. I think there are some players that are good, but like the interior, Buffalo's, tackle to tackle is really solid.
Really strong.
Eagles, Mailata's really good. They've got Dickerson with a knee injury and
Cam Jurgens.
Jurgens with a back injury right now. It's 9 days away, so we'll see what happens. But Saquon creates a lot of that with his vision and things like that, so we'll see. Matt, safe travels, brother. We'll see you next Friday.
Can't wait.
Kendall Gammon next.
has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Getting to hang out with Kendall Gammon here in the Zone on a Friday before we head off to New Orleans. Kendall, welcome into the show, brother. How are you? You look good.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. Is he on the right mic? We got it? You got it, Mike? Can you say that again? Kendall, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just on the incorrect mic. Do I need
Is
to
it
go
still
back to
it's still incorrect mic? We good? We good? Is it that one? Try it again.
He said this one again.
Let's try to switch it. I don't know. That one sounds hollow.
How about this? How are we doing here?
That one
right?
sounds much better.
Fabulous?
There we go.
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds much better.
Yep.
That sounds like the Kendall I know and love.
See that bus?
Been hitting the head way too
Dylan's
many
underneath
times.
it right now from Jason.
No,
That's
that
all I'm
wasn't.
saying.
No,
No,
we
it's
found out that
on.
was the mic. No, we found out it was
41 is the mic.
I see that.
Ah.
We found out
I
that
see
that
what
was
you did there.
that mic isn't. Maybe it's not calibrated to for some. I don't know, but either way, it doesn't.
Kendall, your voice was too glorious. You killed that
absolutely.
mic.
Sorry,
No, you know what?
Sorry, I walked on that. Sorry, I walked on that. I wish we could have that clean.
Oh, I know.
Let's try it again, Kendall.
No, yeah, I'm good.
Oh, dang it! I'll try to get that out of you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've missed you, Kendall. I haven't seen you in
help
in
me
a
help
studio.
you.
Yes,
You
it's
had
nice.
me at hello. You had me at hello. There's no doubt. I know.
Hello,
I'm in,
Kendall.
so I don't just get to talk to him. I get to talk to you all.
I know.
That's right.
I'm thrilled. I'm like a.
Yes.
Yeah, we mock what we don't understand.
Yes, and fear what we can't conquer.
There we go.
That's what I've been told. Kendall Gammon is our guest here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, Kendall, let's talk about this Chiefs team. They get ready for the Eagles again. Just another rematch. It's what they do in Super Bowls. The next year, clearly, they're going to play the Bucks.
Right. Absolutely.
not play
Bucket.
anybody but the Bucks. Bucket is what they'll do. What did you see in this Chiefs and Bills game? I meant to look before we had you on. Sorry, give me 2 seconds.
I predicted we would
24-23.
win. Okay, yeah, I was
24-23. You said it was.
We both were 24-23.
Well,
and great minds think alike.
Thank
so.
you. Yes,
but great
absolutely.
minds also wrong. I'm not sure. Anyway,
That too. Yes, absolutely. But I did not think they would score that many points.
Right.
I was impressed though with what went on. I will say this, even when we got the field goal at the end, when I would like to have gotten the touchdown, obviously, I still felt like, I don't know, at no point did I feel like the Chiefs were going to lose. Now, I mean, obviously it was there, and it was just completely bonkers, and it could have gone any way. But, man, the Chiefs, they just, when you win this many one-score games in a row, you just don't get uptight.
17 straight
Crazy.
one-score games that
not
they've
fair.
won. I mean, 17 straight games that have come down to one score, they have won. And maybe that gets, broken if the Bills kick a field goal on 4th down and 2 in
Right.
Week 11 and go up 5, and the Chiefs don't score a touchdown and they lose by 5. And it's like, well, they had won. Now they've won 16 of their last 17 one-score
Right.
games, right? We would just find a way to sort of look at the stats there to a certain degree. But
They're 0-1 when they give up 38 points to the Broncos in recent years. So.
that's true. Yep, when they give
I
up
hadn't
38
thought about
points.
that. Good
Yeah.
job. Did that take a while to find?
That's analytics.
Okay.
That's
Since the Raiders
when
game,
their backups play. Just
Since the Raiders game on Christmas Day, the Chiefs have won every game that did not involve a 38-burger from the opposing team or a quarterback running for a 26-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
in the
just
fourth
saying.
quarter.
Right now, Pro
on
Football
4th down.
Focus is like, where did they get this?
This
I
is
mean,
amazing. Did you guys just
You can take
remember
it.
that on your
you,
own?
You can borrow it.
This is crazy.
Give credit.
I had the Chiefs scoring 24.
Yeah.
Sterling had 24. You had 24. Dylan had 23. Mick Schaefer had 30. So he was the one that thought they would score more than them. So what does that say then about the offense that they got to 32 points and they also took points off the board with that fumble down inside the 20-yard line when they hadn't been stopped? Like that was, I was hoping we would see that version of the offense at some point, but man, that brought back some memories of what that offense used to look like.
It did, and I think we're going to see even more in the Super Bowl. I understand this is a great Philadelphia defense, but I don't know. I just think, like they always do, the Chiefs started to turn the wheels and the gears at a higher level when they need to. And again, anytime you give Andy Reid that much time to game plan with things, I mean, I know they played the game beforehand, but in general, you had all that time off, and you can kind of extrapolate to who you think you have a good chance to play. I don't know. It's just, I mean, you see other teams and they're like, we're trying to beat the champion, and you think they're giving their best effort. But when you look at the Chiefs side, obviously they're going for the three-peat, and so that's even more, in my mind, of a reason to go. And now, that being said, several guys on the team are like, well, this is just what we do. We play in Super Bowls, we play in AFC Championship games, but it is amazing. There's no doubt, and I know you say it all week. Everybody says it, but you have to continue to say it, which is, do not take this for granted.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
Yeah, it is crazy. I was talking about in the break with Matt Derrick earlier in the 11 o'clock hour. I hadn't said this on the air because I didn't start to feel it until like today. But for some reason, this Super Bowl and this week and everything, and I am more excited and pumped and like feeling lucky that I get to watch my team in the Super Bowl this year than I did last year for some reason. And last year should have been like, wow, they get to go back to back. They get another chance, right? I don't know why. Last year maybe I was, hey, don't take this for granted, but I might have been doing that myself. I don't know. But I know this week it's been like, holy bleep, man. This is unfreaking real. I get to watch my team again. I'm getting goosebumps like right now talking about it. I didn't get goosebumps last year thinking about them playing in the Super Bowl again. It's just,
you just got bumps.
Yeah, I got, yeah, that's right. Doctor help. But I just was, excited to a degree of seeing them winning back to back. But like, I don't know what it is this go around, but there is certainly no taking it for granted for me. Like I am much more excited for some reason.
Right.
I have to sit down and examine that myself over the next few days as to why that is, why this one feels a lot more lucky, fortunate that I'm alive experiencing it for some reason than last year.
Well, what you're talking about is only one of many reasons of things that I need to be examined for. But when you look at it, I think it's the season and how they did things and all the injuries. And I think this year we recognized more than ever maybe how difficult it is, especially, I mean, the ball didn't bounce our way for a lot of the times on the turnover battle until the end of the year a little bit, and they cleaned it up. But then also all the different injuries that came about and how the Chiefs were able to manage through that. I wonder whether all the additions to the team would have taken place if they weren't going for their three-peat, but they are, obviously. But that's the only thing I can come up with is understanding this type of year and all the one-score games and how so many games obviously could have gone the other way. I mean, you just can't take that for granted.
Yeah,
I think two things.
Go ahead.
You're going for history. You're going for the three-peat. I think that's a big part. And two, I think this is the most villainous.
To a degree, I almost feel like that would draw away from it for some reason, but it hasn't.
It really is almost. You have to go fully into it. Like last
I'm wearing
year,
a shirt that's Kansas City versus everybody.
I know, that's outstanding.
Like last year, it was kind of like you're becoming the villains, and people wanted you to lose, but it wasn't just this. It felt like anger from 31 other fan bases. This year, it feels like 31 other fan bases want to see the Chiefs not just lose, but get hammered, get crushed. And so now you got to just own up to it. You're like, yeah, do it. We dare you because you can't. Good luck. You're at home, and the Chiefs are still out there playing. So I think that's part of it, too, for me. It's like, and you know me with the ref.
I know.
That I don't care about that because it doesn't change anything. When I complain, when I watch Mizzou games, and I complain about the refs, whether it's fair or not, does it change the outcome of the game? No. When people complain about the Chiefs game, when they complain about this and Josh Allen, is that going to all of a sudden change? They're going, you know what? Josh Allen did pick it up. We're going to actually play the game from that.
Absolutely.
No, nothing changes, so I'm not going to let it bother me. Yeah. So I'm into the villain role now. I love it. And the three-peat for history. So I think that's why it means more, maybe at least to me as well.
Yeah, and it's the SEC. It just means more.
It just means more,
what we're saying
here. It just means more.
You know, you got Jalen Hurts, SEC, you got...
Well, I heard the Big 12 they went with, it means quite a bit. Did I hear that right? They said it means quite a bit.
It means a decent amount.
Yeah,
like it's we also like our stuff.
Yes.
The Big 12, it means.
The Big 12, we also like our stuff. Yeah, Pac-12, what's they're saying?
It means.
It meant. Pac-12.
Dang it was right there.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon. Chris Jones was next to inconsolable when the Samaje Perine reception and run picked up the first down. Karlaftis turned around and hugged him, and Chris Jones just sat down with his hands in his face, or face in his hands, either one, and just crying, and talking about how much this means. Like, that dude is going to his 5th Super Bowl. He's won 3 of them. He's going for his 4th ring, and yet it looked like this was the first time he'd ever get a chance to play in it. I mean, a lot of guys were excited. Minahu screaming, I get to play in a Super Bowl, right? It means a lot to those guys. But like, I thought it was, I thought it was a sort of an interesting part of that, to see Chris Jones that overwhelmed with emotion to go to his 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to it, as a player and having been through it on both sides, I mean, that's your goal each and every year. Only one team gets to do it. So to have that chance, I remember, I cried like a baby when we lost the AFC Championship in '93. And I cried like a baby when we won in '94, quite honestly, after that crazy, end zone heave by Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it is just... You work for so very long towards this, and then you see somewhat the fruits of your labor, and you have a chance, and unfortunately didn't get that done against Dallas. But all the same, it is just amazing. It is hard to explain if you haven't been through it.
Did you guys, when you got ready for the Cowboys, did the dynasty thing play into your guys' preparation at all? Because the Eagles are getting ready to play a dynasty, going for a three-peat. The Cowboys were the class of the NFL at that time. They were going for the 3rd out of 4 and lost a conference championship the year before. Did that play in at all to you guys getting ready to go out there on the field against the star on the helmet to face off against at that time? Was the rebirth of America's team?
As I remember it, no. I don't remember anything about that from Cowher, and I don't think that's how he would approach things anyhow. And again, I mean, I was there. That's a long time ago. But no, it was just like, we played them during the regular season. We lost, of course, the triplets had it going on, and you knew you were in for a game, but we felt like we had as good a chance as anybody, and quite honestly, I think if that game goes 5 quarters or 4.5, we might have a chance to win, but unfortunately, that's not how it works. And that was a great team, so yeah, I do not remember that part of it.
Yeah, because you guys got back within 3, right?
Yeah, we
did.
That,
in that Super Bowl, Bam Morris with the touchdown, Bam Morris, and then they responded with...
Well, they had some interceptions.
Right, yeah,
the interceptions was the big thing. Larry Brown had 3.
Right, but
2
you
of
were
those, he was in the wrong place, by the way.
Yes, but that's right. You guys were down 3 and had the ball in the 4th quarter when that interception happened, the 3rd or 4th one at that time, to Larry Brown, and then Emmitt Smith scored on like 2 plays later to go up 10 with like 2.5 minutes to go or something like that.
And
at that point,
I'm like, okay, where's the ball? We're going to go get a ball because we're not going to get a ring.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
I got a Super Bowl ball.
That's what you did.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl
ball.
Immediately went and got that. That's
a Super Bowl. I like that.
Or I'm sorry, it's a World Championship ball.
Yeah,
don't want to offend anybody.
But also, you guys were the ones that gave them the best
we did.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, they dominated. I don't know. That's not a consolation prize. I get that.
Yeah.
But they had been dominant in their 2 previous Super Bowls, and they weren't even games. And this one, it started out 20-7. We're like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again. The Steelers aren't a match for the Cowboys. This is going to be a boring one. And then you guys fought back and got there. That damned Larry Brown. The coach of the Jayhawks and
the Sixers
too.
Yeah,
and
Larry
also
Brown,
playing defensive back for the Cowboys.
Great glasses.
Gets around.
Yeah.
No doubt.
If you see Larry Brown, do you have to pull yourself back from punching him?
I do. Well, if I recognize him, maybe. Yeah, but since I would never recognize him, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Or are you talking about the basketball guy? Because I think I can take him.
Both.
Yeah, I think you could take him.
Oh, thank you.
Both.
But don't know, but you feel like a potential.
I feel like you have a good chance.
Yes. Visiting with Kendall Gammon. What was it? You mentioned that loss in the AFC Championship game to the Chargers and then getting past the Colts. What was that part like? Because that was your 3rd, 92, 93, 94. So your 4th year in the NFL that you got to the Super Bowl. So it wasn't exactly like the Bills, who have been eliminated 4 different times to the same team and has had this run since 2020, making the AFC Championship game, and then 21, 22, 23, 24, just simply falling short. But you guys busted through the door. And what that may have been like for guys like, let's say, DeAndre Hopkins, or, Hollywood Brown less so because, he hasn't been in the league as long, but still he's been around playing. He tweeted out last year on Super Bowl Sunday, man, I just want to experience a Super Bowl one time in my life.
Yeah.
All he had to do was wait a year. So he manifested it, right?
There
he just
you go.
put it out there in the ether. Kareem Hunt, his redemption story of of getting a chance to play again with the Chiefs. What was that like for the guys who you'd known had been around for a while and hadn't got a chance to break through, and finally, with that ball falling incomplete in the AFC Championship game to the Colts, what that meant?
You know what, the guy that I remember the most from the loss and from the win is the late Kevin Green, Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, of course, he had come over. He'd had a lot of productive years personally with the Rams, I believe, but not in the playoffs and everything. So him coming over because, he was about winning. I mean, everybody wants to get paid, but he'd gotten paid through his lifetime. He just wanted to win. I mean, he was the ultimate competitor. So I remember that. And, of course, the fact that he lockered right next to me probably draws that to it. But that was the huge part that I remember because you could just see it. And I remember, seeing the adulation and remembering the year before when he was on the ground in front of his locker, yelling at press because they're trying to get answers from him, and he's just so dejected.
Yeah, and so what did it hurt more than it felt great the next
I don't
year?
know.
How do you, as a player, you lost the year? I know you weren't in the league as long as Kevin Green, but
right.
You lost to the Chargers in a game in which you were leading, and then the Chargers throw a 40 or 50-yard touchdown late in the game, and now you lose. That's pretty heartbreaking. That's a tough one to take when you're on the doorstep of go, and then you win the next year. What did it feel better winning, or did it feel worse losing?
Boy, that's a good question. I think it's probably better winning because you think you got that chance, and that pass that the Chargers beat somebody on, Tim McKyer. It was tough to see. They set him up the whole game, and really
was that one of those stop and starts or out and up type things?
They set him up. We saw it later on, but they set him up to where I think it was a receiver on the left side, what a lot of people call a beeline, where you go all the way in, probably 15, 20 yards downfield, then you take it the other way, and everybody else is on the other side, and so he was just open, and they had set McKyer up for that, and then they got him good, and I feel bad for him because he literally got carried off the field. He was so disappointed after that because that was an issue. But it is what it is. But probably because you had all the work, you know what you've done, and now you know you're going to the Super Bowl.
Do you remember? I'm looking through that now because I was trying to think of. I didn't remember who caught the touchdown. Tony Martin's only reception of the game was that 43-yard.
Wow!
So that's interesting. One 4 targets, 1 catch, 43 yards, and the touchdown. But
it's going to be Juju, baby.
Yeah.
It's going to be Juju.
But looking through here,
how about that in the game? And just is Juju again? That was amazing.
I mean, it's just stepping up when he needs to step up. Ernie Mills had 16 targets in that game, but only 8 catches. He had 8 catches, 106 yards, but on 16 targets. That seems
not efficient.
Pretty inefficient there with that one. Come on, Neil.
I know.
Find somebody else to throw the ball to, Neil. Come on.
I think I've told you, but all 3 receivers were out of position because Yancey, Thigpen had hurt himself, so he was done. Andre Hastings was playing with a broken collarbone, so he couldn't get one arm up above his head. I mean, it was just crazy stuff. And then I believe, as I remember it, that I think I've told you again, that Neil threw. There was 2 hot routes that he threw, and then receivers just didn't know because they're in the wrong spot. And Larry Brown was there, so literally in the wrong spot, and he cashed that in. Good for him, though.
Yeah, that's rough. Visiting with Kendall Gammon is our guest. This was brought up a few days ago when talking about the soul-crushing defeat for the Bills and Josh Allen at his locker, and just as dejected as Josh Allen was. And somebody asked the question, and I don't know as a fan the way I would feel, but as a player, would it be easier to be the Bengals this year than the Bills? Because the Bengals, you're like, man, what could have been? If we would have just done this and this and this, we would have given ourselves a chance in the playoffs. And, boy, it's something to build off of. We sort of let ourselves down. Where the Bills, you're just, like, soul-crushed.
There's a finality about it.
Yes. As you get to the end, it's just like, we did it again, and we couldn't get there. Would it almost have been better have said, well, this was a rebuilding year, and we had some opportunities, but we just didn't take advantage of those, and we'll get them next year. Like, I do wonder which way you could rationalize, your next few months moving forward. If you're the Bengals or the Bills, what would be a better spot to be in? It's weird because you would think you make the AFC Championship game, but it may take a while for the Bills to get back to the drawing board of even getting to work out again.
I agree. I think that's the one that is worse because I mean, there 4 or 5 plays could have been made, and they win the game. So you're really just one play away from winning it and having a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Whereas the Bengals, I mean, they can talk about a lot of things, but they understand they've got to start better. They've got to do this. They've got to do that. I think in my mind, it's more soul crushing getting that close in the AFC Championship game because I lost in some division games also with the Steelers, and you're just getting started. It was Cowher's first year, his second year. You do better the second year, and you lose. I think the first game in the playoffs is my rookie year. For those, you're building to it. But again, those compared to when the last play of the game and we don't go to the Super Bowl when we expected to, I was tough.
Yeah, Kendall Gammon is our guest. The Chiefs get ready for the Eagles. It's a repeat, but they take care of the Bills. I know we talked a little bit about the offense there, but coming out of that game, what's your assessment of this team and why some of the reasons are there as to them knocking off the Bills and going to their third straight Super Bowl?
I think the experience side of things cannot be discounted in terms of how much playoff experience everybody has, and then the expectations that everybody has in that locker room. When you come in that locker room, it reminds me, when I wrote my second book, and I was talking to Mike Vrabel, and I remember I asked him about, when Randy Moss came into the locker room, was it hard to deal with stuff? He goes, no, there was nothing said. Nothing has to be said when you come into that locker room because it's just an expectation. And he was great with us. There was nothing, and we never had an issue with anybody coming in the locker room because you have those expectations. And I think also the guys that come in there know that they have a chance to do what they really want to do, which is get that ring. So I think that's very similar with what the Chiefs have going on. And then your two superstars, your two first ballot Hall of Famers work as hard or harder than anybody on the team.
DeAndre Hopkins had one catch, 12 yards. His second target was the one in the end zone that he was well guarded on. And he was as elated, probably as DeAndre Hopkins can get, because I don't know that he's just a different cat, man.
Yep.
I like Hopkins a lot. It's just that sort of personality. And but he was talking about, how great it is to go, and, people had doubted me, and, I got traded for pennies.
Yep,
and it's like,
I heard that, yeah.
He had one catch, 12 yards, but he still looks at that game and his impact in no, they were guarding me this way, they were guarding me that way. Hell yeah, dude, I had an impact on this game, and it wasn't about I had an impact because I had 5 catches, a touchdown, and 65 yards.
Yeah, I think if all you judge yourself by is the direct impact you had with the catches, the touchdowns, whatever, I mean, while that's true, that's pretty short-sighted. And the guys that know, and the fact is the guys inside the locker room, they know, and I know you know that, but they understand what they're doing coverage-wise, how they're affecting things. Kelsey's the same way. Mm-hmm. And again, you Big Red, that's the one thing I love about Andy Reid is I think he communicates like no other coach in the league.
And there's a selflessness that you would hope would be there in those moments. We talked with Matt Verderame a couple of days ago at Sports Illustrated, and he had the 50 most influential games in the NFL in the Super Bowl era. So regular season, postseason, whatever. And he talked about the Chiefs-Eagles game a few years ago when Jerick McKinnon slid down. The Eagles were trying to let him score.
Right.
He was so wide open, the Eagles stopped. They watched him, and then he slid at the 1-yard line, and a couple of Eagles were like, well, that's the game. And Orlando Brown gave a quote to Matt Verderame from that game that he wrote about in SI, and he said, Jerick McKinnon came up and put his helmet in my chest and said, dude, I could have scored a Super Bowl touchdown. I could have scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And Orlando Brad said, it's good. We're getting rings. It's all
exactly.
Good.
That's what I was just going to say. You get the ring. It's just as good.
You're getting rings, man. But he could have. He could have been selfish there and be like, no, there's only like a minute something left. I'm gonna score. They're not going to score a touchdown. We're going to win. Mm-hmm. We're going to win regardless, and I'm going to get a Super Bowl touchdown. I also appreciate the fact that the very next year, Andy Reid tried to get McKinnon the game-winning touchdown in overtime because that was a shovel pass to McKinnon. They were running to the right. It was going to be an underhand shovel to McKinnon, but Nick Bosa knocked McKinnon down. He read it.
Wow.
Nick Bosa stopped, went to McKinnon, and the other outlet was McCole Hardman there. But that was a stop, and Bosa was supposed to go with Mahomes, and he was going to underhand shovel it to McKinnon to score the winning touchdown because he took the knee the year before.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. He didn't score it, but at least McKinnon knows they called that play for me to score the winning touchdown because last year I took a knee.
I did not know that story, and I'm amazed with the fact of Big Red and the fact that the things like that are in his head, I think. I mean, that's
you got the Super Bowl on the line, and he's thinking,
I'm
going to get this guy. I'm calling a play specifically for him because he slid last year and did what he needed to do selfishly, so I'm going to repay him team-wise, unselfishly
Yeah.
he did the thing unselfishly last year.
Listen, yeah, I know he's our coach, but Andy Reid, to me, he's playing 3D chess when a lot of people are playing checkers. He is so far ahead of the game.
Because McKinnon's not the only one that knows that he did that. McKinnon's not. Everybody there knows that McKinnon slid, and then they tried to get the game-winning play to Jerick McKinnon in the Super Bowl in overtime. I got sent this story, Kendall, and you're the perfect one to talk about it here, or talk about it with.
Wow.
Juggling.
That doesn't happen often.
No. Brad Biles, listener, works at Park University.
He's a gorilla.
Yep, absolutely. He sent me this story. Mark Stewart, who is he's officiating in the Super Bowl this year, is a 91.
One of 3 officials in the NFL from Pitt State,
and he's part of the Super Bowl crew this year. Is Mark Stewart, 91 grad. So I thought that was pretty cool to, a local story with Kendall, that one of the guys that will clearly be rooting for the Chiefs and throwing flags on the Eagles is a Pitt State grad and grew up in Kansas, and daughters went to Blue Valley area schools. So just don't let Eagles fans know that, because then they'll jump on that.
I gave him a 20 and told him to keep it fair.
Let's just make sure Sirianni doesn't pay him more. Sirianni might open up the pocketbook.
So what did Kendall do for you?
Yes,
I can counter that.
Yeah, that's right. But that's pretty awesome, though, man.
It is cool.
Did you
smart not being a check though?
Yes.
Not quite as traceable.
There you go.
Did you guys cross paths at Pitt State?
Who's that?
Mark Stewart. He was a 91 grad, so I guess you would have been there at the time. I
was there from.
Did he play football or not? I don't know if he played. I apologize.
I was there from 87 to 91.
Yeah, so you guys. So he was a 91 grad as well. So you guys were right there together.
Yep.
So you guys would have crossed paths there.
And then Hittner, who retired 3 years ago, but he was in the league for 27 years, which is just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Kendall, you are not crazy. We love having you in. I don't care what anybody says about you.
And it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm tired of listening to Sterling when you leave, what he says off the air.
You think I don't know that? You think I don't have something planted in here?
That guy is crazy.
He's crazy, though. Kendall, we will talk next week and get a Super Bowl breakdown prediction of what we think the matchups are going to be.
Sounds good. Take care,
we
gentlemen.
Appreciate you, man. There's Kendall Gammon. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Mick Schaefer next. Sad fans, the end of this hour. More Zone next.
the game officials, I'm sure no officials for any game speak to the media, but what they do have is they'll ask each official like 5 or 6 kind of canned questions. What got you started? What do you love about refereeing? How big is this game to you? And they will put those out there. So I have 6 long sound bites from Mark Stewart that total like 6 to 8 minutes that I'm going to do a story around. The NFL is going to send me some pictures of him. He is from Sedan, Kansas.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know.
Blue Devils, they are in the South Central Border League, or at least were back when I was in school. So we played Sedan in everything multiple times a year. He's older than me.
Oh, I thought you said like Sudan, like spelled as like the country in Africa.
S-E-D-A-N, Sedan.
Like the car.
A car, sure.
Do you think they created the car?
No.
Oh.
Their population is 989.
They created the coupe.
Yeah,
That's
it's about
what they
the same
created.
size as my hometown. Remember what happened?
I don't
a
know.
Touchdown pass at Sedan one time. Lost a bad basketball game to not a great team there at Sedan. So it goes back and forth. It was like a 2.5-hour drive in the same league. My goodness.
They're right next to Oklahoma.
Well, look at Caldwell if you want to know. Right next to Oklahoma.
Caldwell's right next to it too.
Closer. It's 2 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Sedan's over there by.
Do you go to Grand Lake then?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's farther east, but yeah.
Yeah.
Go there.
Yeah. I know.
So there's that. Emmett Kelly, if you've heard of him, famous clown from like the early 1900s.
Yeah, who hasn't?
He's from Sedan, Kansas.
Nice.
That's all I know. My buddy, my brother has a few buddies from Sedan. That's it. I've exhausted my Sedan.
No, I love it.
Text in if you know anything about Sedan, Kansas.
Let's go. Let's keep it rolling, man. This is a Sedan, Kansas.
It was founded in 1871.
Was it really?
Okay.
I had them listed at 1873.
Caldwell was 1881, so it's older.
Whoa.
Sedan, they had a storied football coach. They had a really good football program through like the 70s and the 80s, and their coach made them wear these baby blue coats, jackets on the road to go to games and stuff. So they would pull into Caldwell wearing suit jackets.
That's legit.
That's legit.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. Good for them.
Now that is all I know about Sedan, Kansas.
Their Emmett Kelly Museum is actually located there.
Well, he's from there, so it makes
they
sense.
have that, and they also have.
It's in Caldwell, actually. The
yes.
Butcher Falls. Never heard of that.
No, me neither.
But Butcher Falls is apparently an area attraction. They only have 2.
Okay.
They have that museum of Emmett Kelly.
Well, that's a lot for a town with 1,000 people and have 2 attractions.
Wow, I looked up Emmett Kelly. That's a wild.
It's a clown. I mean, so
he's a clown.
Yeah, sure.
Not expecting him to look like he was a member of the Mad Men crew.
Anyone knows who his character was?
Yeah.
Who?
Began with an H, right?
Well, no.
2 H's? No.
2 W's.
2 W's. Yeah, it was alliteration.
Weary Willie.
Yeah, Weary Willie.
But
there we go.
H, he was based on a hobo.
Yeah, it was.
So
I feel like clowns kind of peaked about 100 years ago.
So
we're done with clowns.
Yeah.
So I want to, boy, I'm just seeing this come across my timeline, but this is really disappointing from somebody that I had been giving so much credit to this week. Let's play this first. Let's hear James Cook because this feels like more of what a champion does, even though he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. But here's James Cook. He was on the Something with D and Brad Wing podcast.
Was it the Weary
Willie and Brad
podcast?
Wing and some D podcast. And the question was about, 35 seconds longer than what we clipped here. And it was just about how awful the refs are and bleep the refs and they suck and I'm tired of the refs and blah, 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 blah. And so it's a very leading question to James Cook. So here's the last part of the question and then James Cook's answer.
How do you guys deal with that as players? Because you just got to deal with what's going on in front of you. But at some point, it's like, bro, do you kind of think about it more after the fact, after the game, or is it present in your mind while the game's going on? Kind of how does that affect it?
I'm gonna give you the most realest answer I can ever give you, bro. Like, for real, like, at the end of the day, bro, like, as a man, bro, like, you gotta come in there and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, that ref, like, you feel me? Like, straight up, like, you gotta come ready to go, ready to play, and like, don't get a ref, no, nothing to call, like, you know what I'm saying? So
bleep that ref bleep, okay? You got to come in there like a man and be ready to go.
Which means he's saying
bleep
the ref
bleep.
excuses.
Yes,
right?
bleep that ref bleep.
Don't give him a chance to.
F the ref S. Okay?
Yeah.
Stop with that nonsense.
This is when you're explaining to your kids, this is how you're saying it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
F the ref
We're kind of
S,
your kids.
You know? That's what it's all about, is effing the ref S, is what he's saying. And he was led down the road of like, hey, right, these refs are the reason you lost, right? I mean, how do you deal with that? We're all on the same page here. We're all on the page that you guys got screwed.
And then he pushes back, and the guys are like, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
You got to show up and be a man about it. You can't just complain about that whole thing like I've been doing the last 20 minutes on this podcast before you had you on. Yeah, exactly. So I play that because I have given a lot of praise to the Bills this week of how they've handled the questions. And I've been looking for this audio for the last 5 minutes or so. I can't find it. We'll find it eventually. But Sean McDermott says, quote, and I've been making sure this is real. So there are many reporters that have given this quote, so it's not like somebody just made it up in AI. Says, quote, I mean, listen, we went into the game and one of my messages to the team, and this happens from time to time, is you're not going to get calls. We're not going to get calls. And I think just when you prepare a team, you prepare them ahead of time mentally for this. This is the way it's going down. And you live with that. That's not the reason why we lost. You start looking at that, you lose sight of all the things, all the adjustments you can make as a team or as a person, coach, player. What have you to improve who we are and how we do things? So there's going to be some of that, and you have to be able to be above that and play above that. So,
to be fair, he was asked about it being on the short end of the stick.
Okay,
and I'm sure,
and I'm
sure that is a
so to wrap
that's
that
a
up
rallying
into
cry for a lot of head coaches going
right.
into a.
So to wrap that up,
place.
it was yes. I told them you have to. It is one way reading through the whole thing now, because there were some snippets of that. Reading through the whole thing, it is one way of saying to your team, there's going to be ups and downs.
Yeah.
There's something that's not going to go your way. We battle through it. We battle through it. If it doesn't go your way, we battle through it. Okay? Hey, we're probably not going to get calls go in our favor. We battle through it. Call doesn't go our way, who cares? Next play, we battle through it. I can see it being presented that way, where if you read it like that, it's like, well, I told him going into it we weren't going to get calls. You're not going to get calls. And then he offers it as, how do you rise above that? How do you? It's not like all week where we said it was us versus everybody.
Yeah.
You know, well, the refs, you can't beat them and the refs. He ain't saying you can't beat them and the refs. He's saying, hey, we may not get some calls going our way. So it's a little bit better than reading some of the snippets that were out there that came across my timeline.
I can see that it's a rallying cry for a lot of teams. Hey, it's us against the world, right? It helps build that motivational tactic. But here's $1 million idea. Sterling, you should do this. You have a ton of time on your hands.
Okay.
You have nothing else going on in your life.
Nothing in my life,
You lead an incredibly unbusy life.
Very unbusy. I have so many hours.
After every game, you compile a video, whether it's a minute long, 2 minutes long, whatever, of all the calls that didn't go the Chiefs' way, because those aren't going to be thrown out there.
Yeah.
And so you just have it ready to tweet out for anybody throwing a call or two. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Okay, well, here's Deion Dawkins.
Okay, well,
false starting before,
yes.
right? Here's
See,
Justin Reed, not offsides there. Here's the Chiefs reacting to a defensive player from the Bills jumping off sides and it being called on the Chiefs. Here's my counter every time. Every single game. $1 million? It's $1 million.
See, Mick, here's the thing. Sounds great.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Oh, yeah. It's good.
The rep stuff to me is exhausting. Because you know why?
Is this one? How about him? Should I ask him next?
No, I mean, it's what I'm doing is I'm just preparing myself for next week. So
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Prepare
hoping somebody comes.
immediately
I'm
during the
hoping
game.
somebody brings it up next week. I'm hoping they are.
I hope they do, because you know what that means.
Are you going to
they
have
lost.
a video from my $1 million idea? That's a good point, yeah. But you should have a video. It's $1 million idea.
It's a great idea. Yes, we'll try to do a video there. But like,
who's paying the $1 million?
Well, you put it on Twitter, and it'll get to you. You'll get it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's so good.
Speaking of crying and complaining and being sad,
hey,
we'll take a time out. We'll come back. Sad fans,
let's go.
Buffalo Bills edition coming up next. All right, here we go. We got some Sad Fans Buffalo Bills edition coming up here. You know, they didn't have Sad Fans Buffalo Bills edition in Week 11 because they ended up winning. So this is our first of the Bills. We've had a couple of
Chiefs
part
have beaten
Bs.
every team they played this year. How
Every
about that?
single team on their schedule they have won, except for the Eagles. And we'll see if they can
continue that trend.
Coming up on 9 days from now. But here we go. Without further ado, Buffalo Bills Sad Fans from Reddit. And now things Bills fans said on Reddit. If Allen doesn't look more confident in this next drive, I'm just going to leave and go on a long drive off a short pier. Josh Allen scooping that fumble up just became the third sticky bandit from Home Alone 2. That was what it was,
Which
man.
fumble?
The sheer athleticism from Cook there is unbelievable. Reply, luckily the stones he carries around between his legs were able to balance him to offset stretching his arm out there. I know he does that. That's weird. Why does he do this? If McDermott truly is a defensive guru, then it's time to pull the rabbit out of that hat. Reply, well, that would make him a magician, and he used all of his magic to keep his job this long. You know what? The refs talk. I want to play like absolute mid all regular season and barely win every game, then come out in the playoffs and be unstoppable like the Chiefs. Yeah, I agree. It's not the refs. I really want to like Elam, but dude is kind of a bust right now. Reply, I mean, if that's the grading scale, then my ex-girlfriend saying I was kind of good in bed changes things. It's kind of a bust. Romo was really articulate for someone with a in his mouth. Jeez. Man. It is hard. Oh, look, it's the guy who we let KC jump ahead of us in the draft to take, scoring a touchdown on us in the playoffs. Check that one off our Bills bingo card, I guess. Just need to reset here. It's a one-score game. We got this. Reply, this isn't Madden. We can't just press the reset button when losing. Wish you could, though.
Yeah.
Be nice. Doing coke would probably lower my heart rate at this point.
Could have been a Chiefs fan.
F*** your bundle Rooski. Straight to the
Okay.
Well, time to smoke that lucky halftime joint. Reply, do you name it Kyer Elam?
Oh, gosh. She got smoked.
We're good. We just need to score a touchdown every time we have the ball for the entire second half. Imagine drafting a receiver like Worthy that can catch and get open and stuff. Reply, hell, I can get open on Elam. Reply, yeah, but can Keon Coleman? Reply, no more questions, Your Honor. I bow out. Deliver us from evil, Josh, please. Reply, you mean deliver us from Elam.
Jeez.
If this keeps up, McDermott is going to have to rehire Leslie Frazier just so we can fire him to be the scapegoat again. Okay, I'm done with them. Who's next in line after Elam? Reply, it's Bill from West Seneca. Some random dude off the street. Really actually forgot this week that this was the postseason version of us playing the Chiefs. I blame myself for expecting anything different. You got to remember, it's postseason time. All this game has shown me is that I'm still not mentally stable enough to handle the Buffalo Bills. Explain something to me. If you're a defensive coach and your defense is the reason you've been losing, then what good are you for? Reply, about 2.5 quarters. I used to wonder how someone could live in this city and not care about the Bills. Now I just envy them.
That's good.
How about shut the up, Aruski? This is getting ridiculous. The NFL needs to investigate what they're doing with the referees and the Chiefs. Reply, so if I follow your logic, you want the NFL to investigate something that you are accusing them of being in on. Got it.
Got it.
Okay. When will anyone realize McDermott can't beat Reed in the playoffs? Reply, I'll take him forcing a punt in the playoffs at this point. Let's start small. I mean, what the f***? My parents could have lived in any city in any country, and they had to choose this one. You didn't have a choice. I'm not sure what's worse, losing this game or losing that 13 seconds. Reply, honestly, I don't really give a Everything can burn. Mark Andrews and Dalton Kincaid are going to go on a darkness retreat together in the offseason. Poor guys. I'd rather put my in a blender than watch another Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl. Reply, is somebody actually making you choose? Seems like an odd choice. Sean McDermott in the playoffs is ice cream, and Andy Reid is the sun. Just melts him, man. Ugh. Not sure why everyone's dooming. We took a Super Bowl caliber team down to the wire. The boys fought. A lot to be proud of. We'll be back next season. Reply, the year 2020 wants their comment back. And now the runner-up to things Bills fans said on Reddit. Commercial, kickoff, commercial. I have literally never purchased anything based on an NFL commercial. Reply, Whopper, 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 Whopper. And now the winner of things Bills fans said on Reddit. Does Kyer Elam have a charity I can Venmo request from? Bills Mafia loves giving to charity.
They do.
Bills Mafia gives the charity. I'm going to send a request to his charity. I want money back. Whew, they were upset at McDermott and Elam. That was a lot.
Those two.
It was a lot. Although I told Sterling earlier this week, I was pretty surprised that out of all of the games this year and Reddit's, this one has the highest percentage of complaining about the officials. I was really surprised by it. Like,
you were surprised by it?
Yeah, because like there's been a lot of games where people have like, oh, the refs screwed us in this one. Like from the beginning of the game, it was Bills talking about the refs.
Well, because you've had that buildup, and everything feeds into that.
The culmination.
It's a culmination, exactly what that is.
Considering that last week the Bills were telling Ravens fans to go pound sand, that the offensive pass interference that was called defensive pass interference, they gave him 7 points, didn't matter. Lamar being tackled 10 yards out of bounds by Ed Oliver, no big deal. You know, refs don't impact it. But the refs. down of.
No. Let me explain.
Oh,
we were
okay.
We were talking about how everyone goes through a stretch where you didn't have the best look.
Okay.
And for me, it was clearly high school. I was a.
So you're out of that window now?
Well,
Okay.
at least I know what I'm doing, I think, looks-wise now. And I was laughing. It was a freshman year basketball photo, and Mick just goes, what the heck is with that haircut? You actually went somewhere, and they cut your hair.
Decisions were made.
Decisions were made, and bad decisions were made.
I just love that Sterling has a viewfinder of just pictures from when he was in
It's
junior
actually
high and
not.
high school. Just clunk, clunk. Oh, there's one.
No,
clunk, clunk.
no.
Oh, that was me
The
with my
folder that
freshman
says
year.
me.
No, well, we
Clunk,
had
clunk,
my
here we go.
parents for Christmas. We got them a couple years ago. One of those photo libraries
Oh, yeah.
that sits on your
It's
countertop.
like a frame that
It's like
rolls
a frame
through,
that
yeah.
rolls through pictures, and I'm not a picture guy. Like, I just never took pictures or really ever look at them. So these are all new pictures to me. It's kind of fun. I'm like, this is pretty funny, and this is me looking like an absolute buffoon at 14 years old. Mick goes, "You were in high school?" And I'm like, yeah.
This is me looking dumb last week. It's me making fun. My mom making fun of what I look like 2 weeks ago. Like these are fun memories to go back in the memory lane and just relive these
Why
moments.
were you wearing that Blue Valley North jersey last week?
Yeah,
Why
that
was
is
that?
odd.
Why
I
were you
took
putting
it. I
it
still
on?
still
Did you
fits.
keep it?
Still fits. Yeah.
Do you take one of those jerseys with you at
Still
the end of the
fits.
season?
No.
Weren't you supposed to just throw it right in the pile on your way out? Hey guys, it's the end of the season. Just go ahead and throw the jerseys right in the pile. We're not even going to check. We're just going to assume that you guys are giving it. Because why would you take
By the
jersey?
way, I always think it's pretty stupid. I feel like you should be able to keep the jersey.
Agreed.
I always think.
Well,
it's
you're at
pretty
Blue
dumb.
Valley. You definitely should have been able to
You,
keep the jersey at Blue Valley.
These days, at least from
I was
our
at
high
Lee Summit.
school,
We didn't have any money.
You can buy them. You can buy the jersey.
No,
Yep.
Blue Valley North should have the funds
Yeah,
to be able
they
to
do.
say,
That's my point.
Yeah.
"Hey, you can keep that jersey, kid."
Yeah. That was my point. And I was joking about the fact that I went to Lee Summit North.
Yeah, I've been to Lee Summit North. They're
That was
ain't
the joke.
slumming it. Okay.
That was the joke of like, well, you're at Blue Valley. They had money, not at Lee Summit. I mean, come on, Lee Summit North. They didn't have any money there. I mean, they had a really, really, really big high school and the district football complex there, and like 7 different practice football fields back in the day, and we had like 8 different gyms that we, but like you didn't have enough money to keep your own jersey.
Although
at
you
the
should
end
make
the
fun of
season.
Lee Summit West because that place looks like a spaceship. That is a nice school.
Yeah, well, you know what? I didn't go to high school when it was around, so I can't
you
really
didn't?
make
Yeah.
fun of it. So,
Not just saying like they're the ritzy
that's
school
They're
for
the,
there now.
the Cranbrook
yeah. Oh, that's a private school.
private school, exactly.
Yeah, it's Papa Doc or P Diddy. Some would say.
Whoa.
What?
What?
Uh-oh.
Do we say that anymore?
Is Papa Doc and 8 Mile not based off P Diddy? Is it? Are we not in the trust tree? Did I not?
I did not know that. I thought we were
that-
going to talk football. But
Didn't P
Well, I
Diddy?
don't know rap at all.
I
so-
thought didn't P Diddy go to a private school,
It's
but
for
then claim
presence.
didn't P
Your
Diddy
rap
go to a
presence.
private school and claim he was from the streets? Didn't that?
I don't know. I don't know much about his life.
You don't anymore.
I've learned about his life
I bet you
lately.
know a lot more
Yeah.
now about his life, about what kind of evil person he is. I bet you'll learn a lot more about that now. Yeah, good God, man. Was Papa Doc like that in 8 Mile? I don't know.
So yeah, I think the Eagles' offensive line's getting a little overrated right now.
think
That
so?
You saving Jason. Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Him just.
I don't know. Was
Quick
that
change
saving
of
like
the top.
I really want? Like I thought that in P Diddy. We need. You know what? Let's discuss.
So
this
I think
now.
the Eagles'
Let's get into
secondary is
it.
a lot better than it was in 2022.
I want a senior thesis written on this from somebody that is in grad school. Characters in movies based off real life characters, loosely based off of them. So,
So
that's
yeah,
what I'm
no
saying.
Fletcher Cox or Javon Hargrave from 2 years ago is
That's a
going to
good
be a
point.
big loss.
That's a good point. And
Who's
like
the new
also
center?
like maybe
Who's the new Kelsey?
maybe the entire group
Cam
that was with P
Jurgens.
Diddy or Papa Doc was maybe like the group that was in Bad Boy maybe.
Some injuries to Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens might play a factor as far as
Sure,
the
yeah.
push.
Right.
That
Yeah.
injury report for the Eagles is longer, way longer than the Chiefs.
And maybe he did that because he was so close to Dre, like Eminem was, and so maybe it was that West Coast East Coast thing, and it was like, Suge Knight and all that stuff, right?
Whenever Cooper DeJean got put in the slot, that Eagles defense really took off, and Zach Bond is really improving that linebacker core from 22 to 24. I've looked up the roster, and it's just a lot of same offensively, but the defense is pretty different.
Do you think Saquon would be a bad boy or Death Row Records?
I've exhausted my knowledge on rap and the Eagles.
Yeah, no more Vontae
I did too. That's
Maddox
why I
in
went
the-
Saquon to sort of combine it together, to mesh the whole thing.
Speaking of mesh point, let's hope the Chiefs have a better mesh
Right,
point.
yes.
with, handoff.
Yeah, that's a great. You know who has a great mesh point? Eagles. Eagles mesh point, they practice it a lot. Chiefs put that play, well, at least the play that they ran a few times with the diamond. I guess they've had mesh point plays before.
Yeah, plenty of mesh.
But he doesn't keep it very often.
Did you
Mahomes.
look back at what was supposedly the 65 toss power?
I can't
trap
find it.
play?
I don't know what it is.
Pacheco down by the goal line. The direct snap to Pacheco.
So the direct snap to Pacheco
And
was 65.
it wasn't. It's not the exact play.
So, okay,
even the
it's not-
blocking on offense isn't with the line. We compared them.
So I went back and listened to it this morning because I was like, I don't remember a 65 toss power.
Because he said Pacheco caught it. He meant Pacheco took the snap.
But also, he also said that's what we call it in our playbook.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay, so they just ran a different type of play, but just called it 65 toss power trap just to pay homage to the
There's a
Chiefs.
similar backfield movement, but first
Right.
of all, nobody's under center. The running back is taking the snap. You saw, I don't know if the Chiefs ran it right because it's supposed to be an inside handoff and kind of Mahomes kind of takes that route where he's getting faked the handoff and it takes off. Pacheco takes off to a similar hole. You had one tackle pulling, I believe, on the play last week, and in the regular play, you had, I think, maybe both tackles pulling or both guards or something like that, and nobody on the left side pulled out, and so
I think they just paid homage and named a play that they run that's similar to 65.
well, and there's probably a trap action going on with the blocking, so that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Sterling, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference from the 22 Eagles to the 24 Eagles, I guess 24-25 season Eagles, is Avonte Maddox is no longer in the slot. It's really changed their defense.
Got it. Keeps me up at night.
Well, no, because Cooper DeJean has been one of the best slot corners in all the NFL. I do think this Eagles team is really good. I think this is the best team the Chiefs have faced in the Super Bowl.
Think so?
This window right here of KC. But I also think what's interesting, we're seeing a lot of revisionist history, and not always from
Do you
Eagles
think
fans.
P. Diddy's parents had a real good marriage?
No, we're still doing this?
Yeah, I thought we were done.
sorry. Yeah, we are.
They had 8 Pro Bowlers on that 22 team. 8.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are almost overlooking how good that 22 team was that the Chiefs beat. This Eagles team, I think, is better, but I think that 22 Eagles team was just built differently. I think offensively, that Eagles team was better, but this defense this year of Philly, you have to attack them a different way, and I think you're going to see a lot of Kareem Hunt on the ground, a lot of 12 personnel, because their defensive line's not quite as talented, but their corners and secondary is much better than that first time around.
I think Saquon makes up for a lot, but I think that team in 22 was 1 through 53 more talented for the Eagles than this Eagles team. Saquon makes up for a lot because he's better than Miles Sanders, certainly out there playing.
But Miles Sanders had almost 1,300 yards.
Because the offensive line was amazing. Because that offensive line was ridiculous. Because they had, 2 guards that were awesome, 2 tackles that were awesome. They had, the best center that maybe ever lived in Jason Kelsey. They had a defensive front that was, leading the league in sacks, right? They were good. They had a secondary that was okay. It's one of the things that you could exploit. It's not like this secondary, but that defensive front and linebackers, they were pretty darn good, and it's better than this overall end-to-end or outside linebacker to outside linebacker for the Eagles than it was.
Zach Bond makes
that
a
was that
huge
rather than
difference
this one.
versus like TJ Edwards, right? So Bond over Edwards is huge.
Right.
It's just a different roster construction. They got faster. Like the Eagles' defensive line is almost faster.
And the edges aren't really scary.
No, they're not.
Like the defensive line pass rush is not scary to me outside of Carter and
Smith.
Williams. Smith, but not to the degree. Like Smith isn't really scary to me because he's just fast and tries to get around the edge every time. Like that's what he does. Okay, so prepare for that. It's not like Will Anderson can beat you around the edge. He can spin back inside, or he'll go speed to power and just push you back to the quarterback. Nolan Smith is just going to try to run really fast around the outside and dip below and bend to get around your hands.
And I think Juwan would be apt to handle that. Now, if he tries to go up against Joe Tooney, that might be a little difference for Joe. He's probably not used to quite going up against
Joe
sort of
Tooney,
outside speed.
But he doesn't have to worry about the guy putting a foot in the ground, faking the bend, and just going right at him to bull rush.
Sure.
Because then Tooney could anchor, and Nolan Smith is not pushing Joe Tooney back the way that Will Anderson was, or Daniil Hunter was, or other players. He's Myles Garrett, players that he's gone up against that are like, all right, this is different than that guy that's just. I mean, to me, Nolan Smith is like, I don't know, lesser version of Nick Bonito, almost a smaller version. And Nick Bonito has come into his own and is awesome. But that Sweat and Hunt are okay. I think they're lesser than Von Miller and Rousseau. And Smith is D Ford, just running fast around the edge. It's Carter and Williams.
How much,
to me, in the interior, in the pass rush.
how much of an advantage do the Chiefs now have that they have Marlon Tuipulotu?
It's huge.
Remember that? Marlon Tuipulotu was on that Eagles team.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
Now he's a.
Well, also they just
saying
they just opened up the window to Sky Moore, so now you got to worry about corn dog if you're the Eagles, right? I mean, Sky Moore's window.
I heard that conversation.
That's gamesmanship.
What's wild is a lot of the same players were on that 22 team who are now just starters, right?
The Eagles?
Yeah, because Milton Williams was on that team, but he never played.
Interesting.
But now he's a starter. Cam Jurgens on that team as the backup center.
Yeah.
Now he is the starter.
I think it's 15 current starters for the Eagles who are on the 22 team.
Because
that's a big number in this league.
I was looking down there. I mean,
NFL.
like Avonte Maddox was their starting slot corner. Now he is the backup, right? Like it's just weird how a lot of the same players are on that Eagles team. I know it's crazy. It's only 2 years ago, but look at the Chiefs' turnover of players
Chiefs
they've
had
had.
12, I think I heard.
Is that what it is?
But like C.J. Gardner-Johnson has already gone Eagles, then to Detroit, and then has come back. It's just funny at some of the movement these teams. At Brandon Graham,
Juju
Schuster.
Juju did the same thing.
He's the same thing. Yeah.
So those two guys were guarding each other.
Jordan Davis hardly played because of Linville Joseph and Fletcher Cox and Hargrave.
Yeah.
And now he's their starting defensive tackle. So it's just crazy to see some of the overlap here.
So the Chiefs have Mahomes started in that one too. So they have Mahomes. They've been starting Pacheco every game since he's been back. So there's two. They've got Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, Travis Kelce. Are they gonna start two tight ends? They started two tight ends in that game against the Eagles. So Noah Gray started, but Noah Gray's still here. So I don't know. We'll give them 6 on the offense in case they go multiple. They like coming out in 12 personnel, but whatever. That's 6. Defense, you got Karlaftis, Noddy, Jones, Bolton, Watson, McDuffie, Reed. So that's 7. So 13.
Yeah.
And
could count Leo too. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
could go 14 if you want to go Noah Gray starting. I mean, we can look at all the guys that played like the most snaps and everything like that. But
the Eagles have 11 offensive players still from that. I mean, not all starters,
right?
But like Kenneth Gainwell was on that team. Obviously Devontae, A.J. Brown, but their special teamer Britton Covey was on that team. Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra was on that team as well. He was just young, their backup tight end. Malata, Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson.
Yeah,
they
they've
got 11 of their half of their offensive guys are still in this team.
Since we're on rosters, I forgot. I brought a game for you guys and like a trivia. Do you want to do it now? Or
no, let's do it on the other side.
Let's do it on the other side.
Yeah, so we got a trivia thingy, a game.
Yeah, that has to do with
sports
Chiefs
or leisure
and
coming
Eagles
up.
rosters.
Okay, sports or leisure?
It's all sports.
Facts. Okay,
but I'm going to be crossing my legs like this, so be pretty leisurely.
Okay, very good. If we don't get it right, are we chumps? Because are you going to stump us?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play sports or leisure, the chumps. Mick Schaefer's
You're
new.
going to start as chumps. If you get it right, you can move out of that round, but you probably stay there. Yeah.
So if we start as chumps and get it right, we get to leisurely hang out.
Yes.
Oh, that's badass, dude. Yeah. This is a really cool game.
You're welcome.
Inspired by nothing else whatsoever and just a complete independent thought by Mick Schaefer. We're going to play this next. Hey, have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings? Well, you better get on it if you haven't because it's Super Bowl 59 and the last time to play NFL Pick 6 this season. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else. You play for better payouts on Pick 6. It is super easy to get started. You select 2 or more players, choose if they'll have more or less of a certain stat like touchdowns, yardage, sacks, things like that. And also, DraftKings is going to make it even sweeter for first-timers. New Pick 6 customers play $5 to get $59 in Pick 6 credits. You win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB for new customers to play $5 and get $59 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One Purdue customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of them,
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're going to sports the chumps leisure and fact it up, or it might be fiction. We don't know. All right, this is a game that Mick Schaefer has invented on his own.
It's called Listen or Lose. Thought of it myself.
Yes. All right. Are we going to buy, or do you want to sell it?
I call it...
You going to pitch it, or do you want to throw it in a
The
ditch
Family
over there?
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beep-beep-beep-beep-doo.
All right.
That's the Jeopardy theme song.
Put your laptop thing down.
Yeah, Chiefs and Eagles.
Put it down.
Chiefs
No, turn
roster.
it, flip it on its head.
Smack it up, flip it up, rub it down. Oh, no. Let's play Mick Schaefer's game.
Former 5-star recruits on each NFL roster for the Chiefs and the Eagles. Former 5-stars. There are 5 Chiefs that were 5-stars out of high school. There are 6 Eagles who were 5-stars out of high school. You want to start with the Chiefs, or are you just going to want to?
I know one of the, I know what.
Okay,
oh, sorry.
Xavier Worthy.
Incorrect.
Buzz.
Great guess.
Buzz.
Yes.
Trey Smith.
Trey Smith is correct. That's one of the Chiefs so far.
Gotcha.
Buzz.
Yes.
Chris Jones.
That is a second Chief.
Dang it.
Nice
That's
job.
who I
He
was
was.
gonna go
I'm
with.
going to tell you each one. So Trey Smith was 14th overall,
Buzz.
number 4 O tackle. Chris Jones was 18th overall, number 2. And yes,
Buzz Hopkins. Nuke.
incorrect.
What?
Guess was
That's
not.
ridiculous.
Went to
Buzz.
Clemson, probably 4-star.
You're going to go Harris.
Hollywood Brown.
Good guess, but no.
You're going to go. I thought you were going to go Butker. Oh, darn it. Okay.
I think there's for the Chiefs. There's one maybe obvious one if you think about him, and then 2 others that might be a little off the radar. Do you want to give like starter status or position or anything yet, or are we still?
No,
there
we're still
yet?
sort of.
Okay.
We're still sort of
We're still
thinking.
sussing it out.
So we've
thinking
got
of
Chris
thinking.
Jones and Trey Smith so
Oh,
far.
man.
Yeah, we do have Chris
There's
Jones.
some.
And Trey
I'm trying to
Smith,
think
don't
of colleges because
Do you want me to give you leagues?
leagues,
Mhm.
like SEC or
Yes.
Big
conferences.
12
Yeah.
or.
Yep.
Oh man, if you want to, I feel like we should.
They're not going to help. I mean, 2 SECs and a Big Ten right
Oh,
now.
Buzz.
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes.
DJ Humphreys.
That is correct.
Oh,
Florida.
nice. Well done.
National number 3 overall. Number 1 O
Yeah.
tackle.
Jason
Yes.
Buzz
Yes.
was Wanya Morris.
Wanye Morris went to
Nice.
2 SEC schools,
Yeah.
Tennessee
Jason
and
Buzz.
OU. Yes.
Jawan Taylor.
Incorrect.
Ah, darn it! I thought it was on an offensive line roll.
Wanye was number 28 overall.
So we
number
have one
6 O
more. We
tackle.
have one more chief left.
One more Chief.
Is it on the offensive line? Is it?
No.
Okay.
Okay, not on the offensive line. Eliminate
I
offensive
don't
line.
think.
Man,
I want to
Toledo
say.
getting Kareem Hunt was big.
I kind of want to say Trent McDuffie, but I don't know if the size.
It's a good guess,
Buzz, I'll say Trent McDuffie.
but it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
good guess, but it's wrong. It's a good guess, but you're dumb, is what he was saying. It's a great guess, but you are stupid.
Okay.
This person in 2014 was number 21 overall. 2014, number 3 overall athlete. When you get it, you'll be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Buzz.
Yeah.
McCole.
Incorrect.
Gosh darn it. Nico
Number 3.
Remigio.
Part of me is almost thinking like, well, she said athlete, so it can't be. I was gonna say, is it like a Carson Wentz type situation? But he's
It's
yeah,
not.
No, it's
yeah.
not because he went to
Northwest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he went North
yeah.
Dakota
Went to
State.
North Dakota State. Not many 5-stars had there.
No, they don't. That's why athlete.
Hold on.
Athlete.
Buzz was
Yes.
Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster was a
Wow.
rock
He
star.
went to USC.
He
Yeah,
went to Long Beach Poly.
Yeah, Long Beach
And then
Poly.
went to USC. He
Yeah,
That
was
would
a
have taken.
star.
That would have taken me a while to.
That's when we got into the whole
Those are the 5.
Den of Thieves,
Eagles.
South Torrance, and Long Beach
Okay.
Poly.
I think
Buzz,
a couple
Sa-
Eagles are
Saquon.
obvious. No.
What?
Buzz.
No.
Buzz. Jalen Carter.
Yes.
There's 5 on the on.
Let's look up Saquon because that seems
Yeah,
like
that
he
seems-
should be.
Well, yeah, he turned into that, but it
Yeah,
doesn't mean he was that.
That's true.
Buzz was Jalen Hurts.
No.
No.
Oh, Buzz AJ Brown.
Nope.
Buzz. Devontae Smith.
No.
What? I'm glad we got infinite amount of buzzes. Are these 5? There are 5 on the Eagles or more?
There are 6 on the Eagles. Who'd you guess so far?
Only Jalen Carter.
Yeah, Jalen Carter. Nice job.
Okay.
Buzz Brandon Graham.
Incorrect.
Buzz, you're stupid.
Yes, that is correct.
Buzz Landon Dickerson.
Incorrect.
Anyone say Lane Johnson?
Not yet.
Nope.
Is that
Is that
correct?
correct?
That is incorrect.
Oh, Buzz Mackay. No, he went to
There's an
Louisville.
obvious one I think you're missing, I think.
Buzz Quinion Mitchell.
Nope.
Toledo.
Oh yeah, duh, Jesus Christ. So stupid.
Dummy. Oh, Buzz Darius Slay.
I'm checking to see all the starters. No.
What? I don't think it's CJ
Why don't
Gardner.
we know the Eagles as good?
Well, I feel like it's not Mekhi Becton. If it's not Cam Jurgens, it's not Landon Dickerson. If it's not Lane Johnson,
Right, it's not. You're right.
so that if it's not Saquon, we said it's not Jalen Hurts. I'm going to be shocked if it's Will Shipley or Kenneth Gainwell, their backup running back. It's not Brenton
Will
Covey.
Shipley
Will
is
Shipley.
one.
I was going to say
Wait,
Will
what?
Shipley went to Clemson.
Went to Clemson.
Yeah.
Number 32 overall in 2021.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next guess. Thanks a lot.
Number 2
Sterling.
running back.
That was going to be my next guess was Will Shipley. Thanks a lot.
And then
Sorry.
2 from a position that you've looked down upon on the Eagles so far this show.
Oh, wow.
Or sorry,
So,
no,
yeah,
sorry, you used to.
Buzz.
But now they're better there. Yeah.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith you got to get. Yeah. Nolan Smith. And then 2 others of a position
Buzz,
of strength. Sorry.
Buzz N'Kobe Dean.
No.
Oh, darn it.
Buzz Josh Sweat.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And so is there one more?
There's 2 more.
Two more.
What?
Wow. Okay.
Both
Two
at the
more.
same position.
Same position.
Jason
Yeah.
Oh,
Mailata.
Nope.
Buzz Jordan Davis.
Nope.
Whoa. Buzz Cooper DeJean.
That position. But no.
So it's not Darius Slay, Quinion Mitchell, or so is it
What am I missing here?
Avonte Maddox is there?
Nope.
Is it? Are you going all secondary, or just cornerbacks then?
2 cornerbacks.
And it's not Darius
No.
Slay,
Right, apparently, this roster is
Quinion
good, I thought.
Mitchell.
No.
I just named 4 cornerbacks.
I know, right? I'm with you.
I've named 4 cornerbacks. You said there's 2 cornerbacks.
Feels so stupid here. Oh,
I don't
They
know.
both begin with the same letter, their last name. Same first 2 letters.
I can picture him right now. He plays in the secondary.
No,
Yeah.
it's cornerback only. It's not safeties because is it Epps?
Jesus Christ. Really? Yeah, nothing?
No.
You've named the entire.
Just give me the
I've
letter.
named like
R-I.
Ringo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ringo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Jonathan.
Did he go to was it Georgia?
Georgia.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 cornerback.
Paul McCartney?
And then the number 2 cornerback in 2020, same year as Ringo. This is they had the 1 and 2.
I couldn't tell you.
He went to LSU in Alabama, and his name is Eli Ricks.
Oh, so that's their
Yeah.
CB6.
Yeah, I was going to be out on
Yeah.
that one. Yeah,
Man,
I was going to be
not
out
even
on
that
Ringo
young.
and Rick. Sorry.
Isn't that crazy? Like, it's not like
Yeah.
the Mahomes or the Kelseys or the Hurts or the Barkleys.
Now let's do 4 stars. Okay, here we go. We've got 62 to get to
Well,
of these
honestly,
4-star
it
players.
does kind of show you because some of those guys ended up becoming great players in college, but some it's all about development and
Sure.
finding your
Keep showing up. How
finding
much you
your
love the
role.
game. Yeah.
You know, I think that's a big part
but
of it.
But I will say, though, there are only, like, what? Sometimes 30, 40 5-stars a year in a recruiting class.
Not many.
And in the Super Bowl, you've got 11 of them out there on a couple teams. Like
You have way more undrafted UDFA guys than you do.
yeah,
because
you're filling 1 through 53. But also, like, if you look at
percentages,
about
of,
8% of the recruiting class are 5-star guys, where you probably have about 20% of maybe first-round draft picks.
8% of the recruiting class.
5 stars,
on,
like
on a what recruiting class?
Like just an individual recruiting class.
I would say 8 is a very high number for that.
Maybe 8 is 5 and 4. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. 8 is 5-star and 4-star together.
But I mean, of all of D1 or all of FBS, what do you of all of
just
the
each
Power
recruiting
4?
class.
He
Like
just
each
threw
recruiting
numbers
class.
out.
Like
He didn't think you were
no.
gonna
I did.
actually
I did this.
fact check 'em.
No, I did this study.
I mean,
like 7 years ago. So
I mean, yeah.
but
Where
it
do
was
you cut
like
off the recruiting class?
I think
though,
it was
at?
like.
I mean, you're not counting D2, I'm sure, right?
No,
You're just of FBS.
It was
Power
a story
4?
that was done in CBS Sports, and they did a big story on people that are saying, well, 5 stars don't turn into this. And it was actually like, like I think 9.1% was 5 and 4 stars combined of recruiting classes of the.
It must be. I bet it's
of what
all
they
of
use
FBS. Maybe just all Power 4.
All Power 4, Power
Yeah,
5, FBS.
yeah.
That
Probably in
was a
Power
recruiting
5
class
back
because there's a
then.
lot of
Power 5
unranked guys, but there's a lot of 3 stars that are just like, oh, this is a lower level 3-star guy.
Yeah.
But then also where those guys are ended up
Well, and
drafted.
those
Like
guys-
5 and 4 stars end up making like 25%
It's almost-
of
yeah.
the draft.
It's almost impossible to shake your stars to where even if you're kind of a bust in college, the NFL is going to give you a shot, and you're going to get a more fair shake than other guys, just because, hey, coming out just a few years ago, you were this guy. And a lot of times what the recruiting services are basing it on, the measurables, same thing the NFL is. Like, we'll get you in here. Right, we'll find the athlete. We'll
Taco
teach you to
Charlton.
football.
How many? I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what his star was, but Taco Charlton. How many? Because
Buzz,
of
I got another
his
one for the Chiefs.
athleticism.
Kadarius Toney.
I mean, I don't.
I just have a list here. I can't. The colleges, by the
I
way.
have a list of actually who's still on the
Georgia,
Chiefs.
Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Florida State, USC, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, and Mississippi State. There's one that's a little kind of not.
And that was Jones, right? Not A.J. Brown?
That was Chris Jones, yeah.
Yeah. Those are typically the schools that get the 5 stars, though, that you're naming. Typically getting those 5 stars. And next year's Super Bowl with the Chiefs, you will be able to name Luther Burden.
That's right.
As a 5-star on the Chiefs roster next year in the Super Bowl.
I
So
saw
that'll be
somebody
fun.
mocked him to the Chiefs the other day. I saw that.
Somebody had a mock that came out this morning that had Burden going 31. And I thought, oh.
The one I saw was 32.
Interesting.
Well, maybe they're drafting 31.
No,
did I say that?
31.
Oh my gosh!
You're an idiot.
Oh,
You're
they're
so
going to
stupid.
trade up with the
That's right.
Bills, who have traded down one.
Bills
and they'll
trade
trade
out of the
down
first
one
round.
more.
Bills keep just trading out of the
Yes.
first round. How do we trade with the Chiefs? We are pick number 29. We've got to figure out how to draw 30. We got to figure out how to trade with the Chiefs. Chiefs trade up 2 spots to get Luther Burden.
Well, you know the Eagles are going to take a Georgia guy.
100%.
Three of those 6 are from Georgia.
If you want to take a Georgia guy and you're the Chiefs, you'd better jump ahead of 31.
That's right.
And jump ahead of wherever the Eagles might jump up to get that Georgia guy. Who are the top Georgia draft prospects this year? And if you've got your eyes on that guy, then good luck, because you're not going to get him. Or just lose to the Eagles so you can draft him. That would be smarter, right? I mean, just don't be dumb.
Better.
It's like, oh, man, why do we keep drafting late in the draft? Why don't we take advantage and get more valuable draft picks by just losing early? You know, that's chess, not checkers. That's what the Chiefs are playing, and everybody else is trying to catch up. And how smart they are.
It's a weird game of chess.
Right? It is. The Chiefs 2022 draft class, though, whether they're 5 stars or not, they're
9-0 in the postseason.
And 6 starters on defense from that draft class? Just like 6
unreal.
starters on defense from that draft class.
Yeah, the Fab
It's just
Five,
crazy.
Fab Five D-backs are all still on the roster, right?
Mm-hmm. So you got
the linebackers,
McDuffie, Karlaftis, Cook. All 3 of those guys start. Jalen Watson starts. There's 4.
Chanel. Najee Johnson was from that
Chanel,
class.
Nazi, and Josh. Well, Joshua Williams doesn't start, so you
yep.
got 6 right there. And then Joshua Williams started a number of games this year. Chanel is pretty. I mean, he plays. He's the 3rd linebacker. Next year he'll be starting if they don't sign Bolton.
I got another trivia question.
Yes.
Love it. Real quick.
We were stumped there. We were chumps.
The last 10 Super Bowl winners.
No leisure for us.
There's been only one Super Bowl winner whose leading rusher that year was over 1,000 yards.
Marshawn Lynch.
The last 10 years. Doesn't
Eagles,
cover it. Doesn't
Eagles
cover it.
LeGarrette Blount.
Nailed it.
Boom! In your face, Dylan, especially in your face. I mean, I don't know why I went after you.
1,161 yards.
But especially in Dylan's
The
face.
Patriots, LeGarrette Blount.
Mainly. Well, people don't remember LeGarrette Blount because they remember just Nick Foles being just unstoppable in that game, right? Catching a touchdown.
Serious
throwing
question.
a touchdown.
Yeah, no, this is LeGarrette Blount from the Patriots.
From the Patriots,
winning,
yes. Winning
against, the year before
the
the Eagles did, yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys
Against
think
the Falcons, right?
that Andy
Yes.
will try and get a play for Carson Wentz? Seriously, I that seems like
No.
something that Andy Reid would do.
No.
No, a victory formation, Carson Wentz comes
There you
out
go.
and takes a snap. Carson Wentz ends up with 2 carries minus 2 yards in the game.
It's like the Philly special for Carson, though.
No, I don't think they're going to do that.
No.
Ooh, they run the diamond formation like they did, diamond pistol formation. Instead of 2 tight ends, it's 1 Carson Wentz and 1 Kelsey.
2
right?
Carsons. Carson Steele and Carson Wentz.
Oh, they get crazy. It's the diamonds Carsons. It's the Car.
They call it the Carson Show.
The Carmans. Yeah, Steele Wentz. Carson Steele. Well, wait, he's already got that name. Yeah, they got that one as well. Speaking of quarterbacks and a crazy sort of stat with the AFC and the NFC, I was looking up this last night because, Patrick Mahomes is now starting his 5th Super Bowl.
By the way, had he beaten Tom Brady both those times, it'd probably both be tied at 5 right now.
No kidding.
GOAT conversation would be over. It'd be over.
So
Why, Nick?
D Ford and then, the tackles and like 21 points.
The entire
there.
offensive
But,
line
but
is-
definitely the D Ford
Yeah,
one.
the
Maybe
D
they're
Ford one is
6 to 4.
Yeah, the D Ford one is rough. In the last 22 years, so the start of the back-to-back with the Patriots. So from that point forward, there have been how many quarterbacks in the AFC to start a Super Bowl?
To start a Super Bowl?
To start a Super Bowl for the AFC.
Since when?
The first of the back-to-back Super Bowls
Pat,
for Brady.
Tom, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
You have Flacco.
Yep.
You have
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Good call there.
One more. Isn't that crazy?
And there's just 6.
Oh, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. So 6 quarterbacks in the AFC. Now name the NFC.
In 22 years?
In 22
Is
years.
it some crazy like 18 or something like that?
Trent Dilfer.
No, he wasn't in
What
that,
year
was
does
he?
it start? Sorry.
Cam.
Oh, 05?
The
I don't
beginning.
know why I'm starting with Cam.
The beginning of the back-to-back with the Patriots.
Russell Wilson.
Tom.
Russell Wilson.
Garoppolo. Purdy. Russell Wilson.
How many are you on?
Cam
4,
Newton.
5, 6?
Oh, the Bears. What's his name?
Rex.
Rex.
Rex
Grossman.
Rex
Rex
Grossman.
Grossman.
He was not
Rex
gross.
Hudler.
Who
Jake
was
Delhomme.
Rex
Jake
Grossman,
Delhomme.
you got to go.
Jake Good call.
Who was the
Jake Delhomme for the
Donovan McNabb.
who was the 49ers in when they played the Ravens?
Nick Foles.
Colin
Jalen
Was that
Hurts.
Kaepernick? Yeah.
Yep.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Did we say Stafford?
Not
We've
yet.
not said
Stafford.
Stafford.
That's 11.
You haven't said last year's.
Tom
Matt
Brady.
Ryan.
Tom Brady as well, by the way.
Tom Brady.
in the NFC.
I said
Matt Ryan.
Purdy.
You said Purdy? My
Yeah, I
bad.
said Purdy.
My bad.
So
It's
what are we
Purdy.
at? 13.
I said Brady. I don't know. Something like
Well, I'll
that.
just tell you the. If you guys want to
Eli
guess,
Manning.
Eli.
Eli.
There you go.
Well, yeah,
if
we
you want to
gotta
guess the number,
couple
I'll
times.
guess
how many-
15.
15 out of
I will
22 Super Bowls.
Wait,
say-
hold on.
The AFC had 6.
At a
So
couple,
Russell-
there's been
Russell
there's
twice.
been 2 repeats at least.
Pete and
There's been
repeat.
3. I'll say. Actually, I'll
I'll
say
18.
18. I'll say 18.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Same.
wow, look at
Yeah.
that. Dylan?
Yeah, 18.
18. So 19.
Jeez.
The-
So you had Hurts repeat.
So-
You've had Eli repeat.
And Russ.
And
Russ.
Russell Wilson.
So here are all the
Jeez.
quarterbacks. We'll see if there's anybody in here you guys forgot because you get named a lot of them.
Yeah.
Jake Delhomme,
That's a Dylan poll. Good one.
McNabb,
Yeah.
Hasselbeck,
Did we say
Oh, we didn't get Hasselbeck.
Seahawks. No,
No, we
Dylan said
didn't.
McNabb. Seahawks and Hasselbeck.
Yeah, we didn't get Hasselbeck.
Rex Grossman, Eli Manning, Kurt Warner,
Oh, Kurt.
Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Kaepernick, Russ and Russ, Cam, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Jared Goff, Garoppolo, Brady, Stafford, Hurts, Purdy, Hurts.
Jeez.
19.
We
Whereas
should
in
have
the
done it in a break and gone through them. And
whereas
seen the most.
in the AFC since then it's been Brady, Ben, Peyton, Brady, Ben, Peyton, Ben, Brady, Flacco, Peyton, Brady, Brady, Mahomes, Burrow, Mahomes in the AFC.
Wow.
6 quarterbacks in the AFC have started the last 22 Super Bowls. 19 in the NFC.
It's almost a flip from like the 80s, 90s when it was Montana,
Yeah.
Sims.
The NFC and the AFC was,
quarterbacks,
Aikman.
and
AFC was just
Aikman.
rotating through
Yeah.
different
Yep.
teams getting there, while the NFC was the same ones, almost every year. And now just like Brady started 8 of them. Mahomes is now starting 5. Peyton 4, Big Ben 3, and then Flacco and Burrow 1. And Burrow lost his, so sorry, you're the last one. You are number 6 out of 6.
But is Flacco
Sorry.
elite?
You can't spell elite without Flack. Oh, well, yeah, you need the L.
Flaccoat.
I like it. Week Friday show. Last show before we head to New Orleans.
God, we're all going to be there.
We will all be there. What are we going to do?
All in different hotels. We're finding out
I know.
here.
We're staying
all
in different
going to go to
places.
each other's hotels and
we
see
can
who
meet
is the
in the
better
middle.
one. Like
Let's
the
meet in the
better
middle.
room,
Yeah,
we all drink some beers and like non-alcoholic for Jason. We'll just hang out.
Oddly enough, triangulating between the three would be the convention center. So
that's where we're staying. So you guys just come to me.
Okay, cool.
Just arrive there and
You have a
listen.
sleeping bag, right? You're
I'm going to get room beers now because we're driving down there. I'll have a cooler. I'll have a cooler, right? It's all about, I'm not going to hold your hand.
No, he just wanted to hold his. Like,
Listen,
what are we giving? What are we saying? Grace here?
And if you're in my hotel room, you've got to sit on the opposite wall, a ways away from me. I don't trust you. Yeah, just.
What do you mean?
If you didn't see,
man?
if you're listening, just imagine somebody reaching their hand out to say grace,
holding it,
just holding it like you would hold hands with people around you to say grace.
Fist bump or like shake the hand.
Just holding palm
out,
palm up, not completely stretched out. Like give me five, palms up, palms
when you do
up,
the
elbow flexed. You know,
dog. I get frozen cocktails.
Put
I
your
get
hand-
gumbo and crawfish etouffee, and I get Mick Schaefer.
Oh boy,
yo, this
I
is
need
gonna
you to
be
delicately
an
place.
that third
week.
one's not promised, buddy. It's not promised.
Your hand
life's
palm
not
down,
promised, baby.
into my hand. All right, let's play the cuts here before the show is over. Go right ahead, Dylan. What we got, sir?
Edelman touched it like, hey, you scoop, you picked it up.
It robbed you of a moment. Wow.
The Chris Jones thing did, because I would have been playing in a Super Bowl game.
Active didn't come out yet, but.
Oh, I missed that part. We were laughing at
Pretty
that.
good.
He called him a.
Oh boy.
Called him a Richard head on the air. That was kind of a Richard move.
What do you say? The active squad hadn't
It's
come
like,
out.
actives hadn't been released yet, so we don't know what would have been a super. Keep going.
I would not have caught that.
One,
you know
it would
what?
have been way over your head.
You know what? You know,
and you wouldn't have got 2 feet down.
Credit to me for being humble and saying that.
Credit to me for being humble.
I just want to make sure everybody knows I was humble and said I wouldn't have caught it.
Credit to me for being humble.
And based on what Pat has been doing, Kirk, how hard is it to play this position at that level? Consistency.
Yeah, there's times where I watch Pat play, and it's hard to believe we play the same position.
That's they do, but they don't.
As far as the whining goes, I wanted to start out by saying, shout out to all the referees. Job well done. Love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Keep up good work. Yeah, we can laugh because it's not true. Keep going.
Hoping to become the next director of national intelligence. Graham in Jersey City, New Jersey, Democrats line.
Hi, I want to wish everyone a happy MLK Day. I hope everyone's staying warm. A bit disappointed how the election turned out. I think it would have been great to see a female president inaugurated today. While I'm disappointed in the American people and their desire to see another 4 years of Trump, I'm a bit more disappointed in the selection committee for not picking Alabama for the college football playoff finals, and instead picking inferior teams like SMU and Indiana. Truly dark times in America.
Okay. Pictures of more of the president's hopeful cabinet.
Keep going. Oh, my God.
Sam, there's not a lot of space in there normally. And so for you to be able to squeeze through those tight holes.
Good God. I mean, that's
A
not
lot of
what
space. What was he talking about? I wonder.
Probably a running back or something.
Oh, I thought it was sex.
Good God, Mick. Keep going, Dylan. I mean, jeez Louise. That was cuts.
Early.
Yeah, it was an early cut.
Winner.
Avery next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I feel like 90% of riddles should be written as like, oh, what has hands and a face but no butthole? What has a heart but no butthole? Like, it's all like...
It's an odd riddle book that he got. What do you drive that doesn't have a butthole? Keep going.
So this one, listen, I don't know if this is a fart, but it might be a fart.
Okay.
At the Chiefs press conference, let's take a listen.
Nonstop, always working. So it's been great to see him excel, and he's been doing a great job, and he's always been ready. And
that's Tooney, right?
So yeah, I've been really happy for him.
That might have been me.
Trying to stay loose. Not sure when you're going to go back on the field.
Another one?
Turnovers,
We missed
anything,
that.
but just trying to stay loose.
Can we isolate the fart sound?
Let's try this again.
Enhance.
Let's
Just
try it
click
again.
the enhance button.
No, nothing said from us until the whole clip is over.
Enhance in the pants.
Here we go.
Nonstop, always working. So it's been great to see him excel, and he's been doing a great job, and he's always been ready, and so yeah, I've been really happy for him. Yeah, trying to stay loose. You're not sure when you're going to go back on the
That
field.
second one,
The
I mean,
second
one, man, that was ripped.
But just trying to stay loose.
I think we've got our answer.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a yes. I'm not sure who it was from. Maybe it was
one of the beat writers.
It can't be Joe Bot-Tooney because robots don't do that.
That was a beat writer fart.
Yeah, for sure. Keep going.
I smoked a turkey this past Thanksgiving, so I have an injector now, too.
Curtis smoked a fatty right before the show.
I did.
So.
I feel a lot
I
better
was looking at
because
your
of it.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Raytown.
I'm from Raytown, man. It's in your DNA.
I get that. Yeah, no, I haven't been able to smoke in a while. I picked up the smoking hobby like every Kansas Citian this past year, and I just had like a mound of snow near my barbecuing area. So
Oh, you were smoking outside. Okay, I thought you were like
you smoke a pipe. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, you're talking about doobies. I see.
What are you, 70?
I'm picking up.
Good Lord, Curtis and I are supposed to be the old guys.
Yeah.
Reefa.
Potheads. Program
Devil's
potheads.
lettuce. It's the devil's lettuce.
Doobies.
It's the state flower of Missouri.
A doobie?
It's always enjoyable when Nate climbs up into a chair and is there for 4 hours.
Curly one. Keep going.
Stan and I have a lot of the same logic there, and I obviously did not copy it from him, and I've got an alibi because I was looking up Dick Hammers this morning.
Oh, God.
Dismount.
We got 10 seconds.
Oh, no! Still got 10 seconds. That was. I don't think we can do enough Dick Hammers in 10 seconds.
Brought it back.
Sterling can.
You saved it.
It was the quietest I've ever been. It was a quiet. I just let it happen. I was like, I'm just gonna not talk.
Just take it. Just take the Dick
Looking up
Hammers.
Dick Hammers all morning, so he wasn't listening to Stan Weber talk. Keep going.
7 down by 14.
I'm not sure Coach Quinn likes owners coming down on the field before the game's over.
Oh my God.
My bad, Dan.
Brady, that one hurts. Or no, not Brady, but Olsen. Keep going.
The ball. Stop fouling. Caden Shredder. Shedrick.
Shedrick.
I was going on a rant. I'm like, stop fouling
Caden Schreiber. Liv Schreiber. Stop fouling him.
For some reason to be funny
Were
and
you
like
eating someone or?
Jesus.
It was not, as it turns out.
That was when we were in our.
Who asked that?
We were in the
Talk about the Donner party.
Donner party.
Sure we were. Sounds like a good enough excuse. Keep going, Dylan.
EAGLES Eagles.
I asked him who he's rooting for.
Yeah. Wow.
That is
I
not
asked him who he's
true.
rooting for.
You
That's what he
spelled it
said.
wrong, though.
No.
It's ELGSES.
Elgsis.
Duh.
Yeah. And then it depends on what part of the game too. Like if at the end of the right before the half, we might try to bang one even longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mixed
again,
favorite.
why don't you just wait till the half?
What he's talking
Well,
about.
just wait till the half.
Yeah.
Why would you do it right before
Well,
the
it's
half? The
quick
game is-
half times.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
efficient. He's efficient.
That can be the case, you know. I mean, it's just odd, you know. So there we go. Next week.
Good week.
Next
We'll
week.
be doing this from Radio Row.
Yes, we will.
CHIEFS Chiefs.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
better?
that's the
That's it.
typical.
Yeah.
What would be the Liam Cohen Duval for the next coach for the Chiefs?
Jackson.
How about that barbecue?
Or it could be
No, it'd be-
Wyandotte.
How about those Chiefs? You know what Andy says. How about those Chiefs? Thank you, Mick.
Hey.
See you in New Orleans.
See you in New Orleans.
See ya. Talk to you in New Orleans. Bye-bye.